What is up, Heaters? We are back. We just did the weekly update. For anybody that doesn't really know, because I don't ever really post them on YouTube, my weekly updates are basically just me going over what's coming out for the week for Marvel Rivals. I go over that every week, and then I do my character concept, which we're doing right now. So if you guys would like to see them, let me know, and I'll definitely upload those to YouTube. But I mostly just highlight them on my Twitch page, so you can go check that out if you want to. Excuse me. You don't have to, but yeah, they are there, so that's super cool. But today we finally have the announcement that I said been working on for you guys, even though that's a couple weeks late. So once again, very sorry about that. Did not mean for that to be happening. You know, did not mean for that to be taking this long. Like like should not have taken that long. But that's on me. I'm sorry about that. Like I said, I was busy with finals, a bunch of other stuff. You know, stuff came up, so couldn't really control that. But I am definitely excited. So we're gonna go ahead and break what the surprise is. So it's not a character concept today. It is characters or character concepts. Okay, well, no, yeah, okay. I guess it sounds a bit. Instead of a character concept, it's character concepts. So you're like, what? I didn't hear a difference. Well, there's the S, so that means multiple characters, and you're like, Josh, this is what took you multiple weeks. Like I said, I was busy, but I really hope you guys like these because today's episode is about the Sinister Six. I've said it before. I said it one time in an original character concept or like some stream. I was like, "Hey, it would be like really cool if like the Sinister Six were in the game. They did Sinister Six season." That's basically what this idea, like character concept idea, is for today. Is the Sinister Six, and it's not like the OG Sinister Six or anything. It's kind of like my group of Sinister Six that I put together. I thought that would be really cool. And basically, the whole idea behind it is like it's like a quote unquote its own meta. You know, like there is two vanguards, there is two DPS, there is two supports. That's basically what it is. And I'm really proud of like what the kits look like. I'm not proud of how long it took, but yeah, I'm definitely excited to hop in there. So let's go ahead get this Johnson started. See if it's gotta double check real quick to make sure it's showing for you guys. All right, cool. First character. You know we gotta add the boy Green Goblin. You know we have to add him. I just want him to be in the game already. Kind of like where I was coming from for Sinister Six, besides just coming up with the idea, oh, Sinister Six would be cool, is that like this is a growing thing that people have said multiple times. Is that hey, you know, we need more villains in the game, not just like like a boatload of heroes and then some anti-heroes, you know. And I definitely do agree. They needs to be more villains in the game. And I think this is a great place to start. Just drop the Sinister Six. Like I know that might be asking like way too much of the devs, and you know, like I'm not saying they need to, but I think like this would be a great place to start, especially Green Goblin. Everybody loves Green Goblin. Like he's such a or I guess most people like Green Goblin because he's such an infamous Spider-Man villain. He's just like a really big, like famous like villain overall, just like for superheroes. So I think this is where you start. Like you do your whole villain renaissance, you know? But anyway, let's go ahead and get this one started. So Green Goblin is a DPS, like I said. He is gonna be 275 health, gonna be 2 out of 5 stars. Could be three, could be three. You let me know down below. But basically, so his primary fire is gonna be his infamous pumpkin grenades. So Green Goblin's most famous weapon is his infamous pumpkin grenade, and he would not be traveling across the fractured universe without them either. So mechanic for these would be similar to Junkrat's in terms of a small circular bomb that'll bounce off walls and the ground. So if you've played Overwatch and you know Junkrat, like he throws like his little like he has like a rocket launcher basically, which has like small little bombs, but obviously Green Goblin's not going to have that. He's just going to throw them, and he's actually going to be Green Goblin's going to be a flying character, which we'll get into in a minute. So I think it'd be really cool, you know, have the flying aspect, and then also you have like this bomb aspect. So like if you guys know Squirrel Girl too, when she shoots her acorn, it bounces off once, and then it does, you know, it still does its damage. Like if it hits you, and then if it bounces off and it hits you, it does damage too. Same idea here. It just has an exploding effect added to it. I think it would just bounce off once. Would be super cool. Like this is his most famous weapon, so I think it needs to be his primary fire. And like you said, like I see here, bomb that can bounce off walls or the ground. So like if you're flying, obviously, and then like let's say you're here, you're flying, and then Spider-Man's like over here. Well, then like you bounce it like boom, and then like it hits him. So I think it just works. So It's really cool. Green Goblin would throw them, and if they hit, they do damage, obviously, and if they do not, they bounce once and then they explode. So, like, let's say you're not exactly close to Spider-Man, or you hit him directly. Well, maybe the explosion that does some like a little bit of damage, depending on how close you are. And obviously, like I'm not like a game dev, so like I don't know like all the intricacies or mechanics of everything. So let's say like, oh my god, you're like 20 radius away, like I don't know, 20 like inches away. Then there's this much damage. Obviously, like, if you get what I'm talking about, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're this close, maybe the damage drop off rate is basically what I'm talking about. So I'm not gonna get crazy into it, but like if you do have that question, that's basically it. Like, let's say Spider-Man's here and the bomb drops and it explodes. Well, then like based off of this much radius, it's gonna do that much damage. And then if it's farther or closer, same idea basically. Green Goblin will have a total of 12 of these before he has to reload. And then also similar to Junkrat, he would not have headshot capability. That is there. Okay, next. Flying abilities. So, most flying characters in Rivals, it's like their left trigger on the control. And then again, like I've said, I play PlayStation, so I use PlayStation controls. So if you're like, what is this? Just try to convert it. So most characters, most, meaning sometimes not always, most characters in Rivals they use the L1 and then L2 buttons, like the bumper and the trigger, to fly, like go up and down. One, okay, real quick. I don't know why like Rivals sometimes like they have them flopped. Like, why would like your lower button be like your up button and your top button be like your bottom button? Every time I see that in a character, I have to swap it. Like, it just makes no sense. Like, your top should be your flying up, and your bottom should be your flying down. I just had to get that out there because it drives me insane every time I see it, and I don't know why games do that. I don't know, it just drives me wild whenever I see stuff like that, but whatever. So, obviously, for his flying capability, he would have his Goblin Glider. So the Green Goblin would be a flying DPS, like I said. His main kits would be the generic flying buttons, like I said, up and down, while also being able to turn it in all directions. So like he's not just gonna go straight. Like he can turn this way, he can turn that way. Like he can like weave and stuff like that. Like nothing like nothing crazy, but yeah, typical flying character mechanics. And when I say that, like I'm mostly thinking like somebody like Iron Man, Storm, it's kind of like Iron Man without the boost, basically. So that's kind of like when I say stuff like that, that's kind of what I mean. And another thing, I've said this before, like when I put in my character videos or my concepts, like so like when I write these not only so I can read it off for the video, but I write them because I post them on the Reddit my Reddit page, and that way like some of those people don't see the video, so I have to make it like I kind of have to like visualize it not only for myself but for the people that read it. So if you're like, why does it say like this character? Like, are you just copying this character? Like, are you just copying Junkrat? Like, not really, in the sense like, oh my god, he's gonna be Junkrat just for my rival. It's like, I'm not copying it. I'm just, like, putting that there so, like, it's easier to visualize. Or, like, if I have a hard time, like, trying to figure out, like, how it, like, looks or works, I look at that and it helps me because like, that's how I visualize it and it helps me explain it better for y'all. So, like, when you guys are seeing that, and I'm talking about it, like, I'm not just don't be like, "Oh my god, he's just copying everything." No, I'm just trying to, like, give a good way to show, like, how it works and stuff like that. So like I was saying with Iron Man, the flying ability, that's kind of like how I think about, the flying. Like he's obviously on his like glider, so he's gonna go forward and back. He's gonna go up and down. He's gonna move side to side, stuff like that. That's what I mean by like generic flying buttons. Okay, the one difference here is though instead of flying, he would be like flying. I don't even know what the hell I'm saying here. On climb. Oh yeah, okay. Basically, what I'm just saying is he's gonna be on his glider, not just like a flying character. He's not gonna be like Iron Man in that sense. He just has his repulsor blast. So he would not stand still. Yeah, so, okay, yes. This is something I wanted to get at. So Iron Man. He just like flies around. You can kind of track his body a little bit, obviously before you like boost or whatever. But Green Goblin, like as he's like turning a corner, like let's say he's turning a corner, he's not just gonna be like boop. He's not just gonna be like straight. He's gonna like lean or stuff like that. So like I think this would be like a really cool, thing to add in the game. That way he's not just like stationary. He is like moving with his glider. Because if you know anything about Green Goblin, like his glider's kind of like I don't know, like a roundish. It's not just like boop. It's round and like the glider moves. So I think it'd be really cool here if his glider moves and then like as he's like flying, he's moving too. Like maybe let's say as he's going down, he's like hunched down, and then as he comes up, he stands up a little bit. I think this would be like a really cool mechanic to add into the game. So And like how I said here, a character would need to know how he's gonna move when he turns a corner, etc. So like if you're like Hela, Phoenix, stuff like or Bucky, obviously Bucky could just probably ground him. But if you're like a Phoenix or a Hela, and you're thinking he's like, oh, he's gonna be standing up when he turns the corner. Well, actually, no, he's gonna be moving maybe like inward or outward. Probably outward would make more sense. But definitely stuff like that. So I hope like if he ever does get added, this is probably like the one thing I do want. If like the whole kit of mine is not taken or used at all, which like I'm not expecting it to, but I'm just saying like this like idea is the one thing I would want in the game. So all right, next his secondary fire right bumper, Hannah's shock. So one of the funny this is a really funny thing about Green Goblin. So one of the funniest things that Green Goblin has in his toolkit is like a small finger shock, and if you haven't seen it, he just like basically just zaps people with his like finger. He would keep the same trick, and the way it would work is that it would be like a hit skin projectile. So if you know like Bucky or Luna, like it's a hit. They're hit skin characters. So like it doesn't mean like it's like this big, like radius to hit the character. It's like really tiny and finite, like finite. And it basically just grounds kind of like Bucky. Like Bucky's ground ability is like a huge circle. This is not that. It's like a small thing. It would ground whoever it hits while also doing a small amount of damage. I think this would work perfectly fine. Like it doesn't need probably like a huge cooldown, maybe like a medium sized one that way you're not just like boom 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 boom, boom like zapping everybody. But yeah, I definitely like this idea because like it just seems like such like an annoying thing. Like okay, when I was coming up with Green Goblin, like my idea was like he's gonna be this annoying flying guy. He's just throwing bombs everywhere, doing shit that's just pissing people off, like in the game. Because like I was coming up with him, and I was like, oh my god, this guy's gonna be such an annoying little bitch to deal with, and and it's like adds to that obviously. Like let's just say like I know you're Iron Man, you just like two, like you're trying to like shoot people with your repulsor blast, and they just zaps you, you get fucking grounded, and like let's say like thing comes out of nowhere and just like slams you into the or like Devil Dinosaur now that he's added. Like I could just see it just being like, so fucking annoying, stuff like that. But anyway, that's basically what that one is. All right. Next, it's gonna be the O button. So it's gonna be unstoppable rage. So in moments where Green Goblin is caught in a sticky situation, he would use the O button and gain a boost ability from his glider. So similar to Iron Man, he has a boost ability. While in this state, the glider reveals its spikes, its glider, that come out from below, and then they can jab basically anyone that you run into during this state. So the way I was kind of coming up with this is like if you remember in the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire and William Dafoe, near the spoilers, obviously, at the near the end of the movie, Green Goblin is like pinned up against a wall or whatever, and he's like talking to Spider-Man as he does. He kind of like presses his glider, and the glider like levitates, and then like these spikes come out from the front, and they come after Spider-Man because Spider-Man's standing in front of him, and he's trying to kill Spider-Man, but Spider-Man like uses the Spidey sense obviously and jumps out of the way, and it kills Green Goblin. But obviously, this glider is not going to be on it by itself. It's going to be just you're on top of it, and so on top of getting the speed boost, these spikes would come out the front, and you could basically hit anybody that gets in your way. So I think that would be super super cool. Like, so let's say I don't know, Ultron, yeah, you see him healing in the back, or he's about to ult, and then you're like, "Oh, fuck this, I'm gonna boost him," and let's see, he's chilling over here, spike come out, you're like, you know? Or let's say you're throwing bombs at him from across the map, like, let's say there's a wall up against him, and you're hitting him at an angle, and he tries to find where you're like, "Nope." Boost him, boom, you can get him right there. Now, I don't really know if I want, like, you to be able to grab the people, but definitely like jab. We're definitely gonna go with jab. Do I want the grab? Let's see. Because like you can either just have like he stabs you and then you fly around and you stab him again, or you can have like he stabs and then you shoot off with them. I'm just gonna kind of stick with you jab, like, and you do damage, and then you have to come back and do more damage. That way he's not like you're not just taking people away. We'll go with that one. All right, cool. And then passive ability, we got Osborne Insanity. So in the manner of an Osborne, they are not normal. They have an insatiable craze that drives them to the brink of insanity. When getting stacked kills as a Green Goblin, you'll start to get overshield 25 for each kill. That's supposed to say. At a max of 100 overshield. So basically, how this works is as you're doing damage to people and you kill them, you'll get 25 overshield for each kill. And like I said, it's maxing out of 100, and so Green Goblin is 25 health, so the most you're gonna get is 325. So that's what part of like the idea I was talking about. He's supposed to be like really, really annoying. So like, let's say, Green Goblin's super close to death, and then he kills somebody. Well, the boom, he's got Overshield now, and he's a little. It's a little bit harder to kill. Let's say he kills somebody else, then boom, he's even more harder to kill. And you're just like, oh my god, can this guy die? Like that right there, that feeling is what I'm trying to get for Green Goblin, because Green Goblin's such a menace in the comics, and he just needs to be a menace on the battlefield. All right, next thing. Ultimate ability, bag of tricks. All right. So as somebody as crazy and as unpredictable as the Green Goblin, his ultimate ability must match him. Like must match that, obviously. For this ability, for about 10 to 12 seconds, maybe a little bit more. Now I'm thinking about it. You choose for a specific. You choose from the specific 4 pumpkins grenades at hand. So from the 4 grenades, he has a smoke grenade, a bomb grenade, a blade grenade, and a fake grenade. All right. Okay, so if you're like, do you just grab one? Do you grab two? So it's from this 10 to 12 seconds. So in the time that it takes you to pick a grenade, throw it, and then pick another one, that's how many times you can grab a grenade. And you can grab like the same grenade if you really wanted to. Like, let's say you wanted to throw two smoke grenades, you can. Or if you wanted to grab a smoke and a bomb grenade, you definitely can. Or you want to throw a fake grenade and then you want to throw a bomb one. They're like, is this because it's a dud? And you're like, and the other one blows people up, you're like, yeah, this is what I'm trying to get at. All right. So the first one, smoke grenade. When you throw it, lets out some green smoke, hiding anyone that could be in the way. It's like a decent size like amount of smoke that comes out. It's not just like a tiny, tiny little amount. It's like a decent amount. So like this is the ball. It's like not just you know. Nothing huge though, but nothing small. Like I said, a bomb grenade upon dropping, it's just a massive bomb. Because the first one's already like a big, like a exploding effect. This one's like nothing like Wanda ult size, but still like pretty big size. Next, blade grenade. These are 3 auto aim grenades that you can cut and damage anyone that it locks onto. So, like I said, this is kind of based off of the Spider-Man movie. This idea. Think about the Blade pumpkins from the first Tobey movie. So if you remember in that movie, there's a scene where Green Goblin's fighting Spider-Man in a burning house, and he throws these blade grenades, and they kind of like here's the ball, and they have the blades on each side. So that's kind of the idea. And these would be auto aiming. So like, let's say you're no, I don't know, flying, and you see that Ultron again, and you're like, he's about to ult. You're like, no, I don't know why you'd pop his ult here, but let's just say you did. Um, you could like lock onto him, kind of like Cloak and Dagger locks onto people, and you throw them, and it does its damage. I don't really think it's gonna lock onto multiple people per se, just probably just like one person. That way you're not like going crazy. Or maybe yeah, let's just stick with one that way because like I said, you can use multiple in the time that it takes you to like lock onto him and then throw it. Then by the time like maybe you still have a few seconds, you can go after like I don't know Iron Man or Mantis and stuff like that. And then fake grenade, as the name implies, obviously it's just a fake grenade meant to throw off the enemies as to what you're gonna do. So yeah, I kind of think like maybe like you pick the grenade like when you ult like it shows an animation you picking a grenade, but like people don't know what grenade it is. They're all gonna look the same, and they're like, oh my god, what's he got? It's a bomb grenade or stuff like that. Like that's why the fake grenades in here. And that's what I say. Maybe the ultimate could be like a little longer, like maybe like 15, 20 seconds, stuff like that. I'm thinking 10, 20, maybe a little too short. So I don't know. But, basically, it's all grenades would look the same and sound the same, so, like, when you ult, they're gonna sound the same. It's not gonna be like, "Ha ha ha ha, smoke grenade." It's not gonna be like, "Ha ha ha, fake grenade." It's gonna be like, "Ha ha ha," like, whatever his ult line would be. And then until a few seconds after, it would reveal what the type of grenade that type of grenade okay, I just spelled grenade wrong, that's cute. The actual pumpkin is, like, once you throw it, it's gonna show, like, "Oh, this is a fake grenade." They're gonna be like people are gonna be like, "Ah!" And then, like, nothing happens. So, yeah. Look and sound the same until after a few seconds, revealing okay. Alright, so next, team up abilities. So, like minds, men who run huge enterprises tend to think alike and aren't afraid of some corporate synergy. This team consists of Iron Man, Green Goblin, Doctor Octopus. You're like, whoa, Doctor Octopus is not in the game. Spoiler alert, he's in the rest of this video. So don't be like, ah, ah. But yeah, if you do like Doctor Octopus, I do have a cool idea for him. All right, like I said, like Minds is the first team ability. It's if you're on a team with Iron Man, basically if you're playing Green Goblin. So when teamed up with Iron Man, who is acting as the anchor, he and gains a cooldown buff. Green Goblin would receive a new pumpkin grenade that, when dropped on a surface, reveals a bubble shield similar to Deadpool's unicorn shield bubble, like the tank pool. So this isn't part of his ultimate. This is just like a secondary ability. So like let's say a triangle button or something like that. So as he's flying, you can throw it on like any surface. You know, I think it should be really cool, especially with like how his kit is made. Like maybe you're running away and you don't have enough health yet. Boom, you just throw the bubble. You can hide in the bubble, and nobody can really shoot you. So it's like a small thing, but I think it would really pay off. All right. Next, amazing drop off. So when teamed up with Spider-Man and an old foe, whom he is forced to work together in order to save the world, would have a quite would have quite a nice team up. Both of y'all would agree to team up, kind of like the Captain America and Bucky thing, where you both press the button, or like Hulk and Wolverine, stuff like that. And then Green Goblin would carry Spider-Man with a grapple, and then be able to drop him anywhere in the front lines. So basically, you both agree. Green Goblin, like you attach to Green Goblin's guider, as Spider-Man, and then he will drop you. Like Spider-Man doesn't choose, he will drop you. So that's pretty cool. Um, where like maybe you're dropping them in the front lines, or maybe you both agree and you're trying to pick them up, take them back to get some heals. So that would be really really cool. Especially like if you use like your abilities, like if you're comboing as Spider-Man and you like don't really have a movement ability like exactly at that second to get out. Like this would be like a super cool idea. Okay, next possible suits. So you need to have the classic comic book suit. I would say, for, like, the game, I think he should have, like, the glass, like, the golden well, not golden, orange, like, glass eyes that maybe you can see through, maybe not, but I think it should look like that and kind of like armor-esque. I think, like, the Fortnite version of Green Goblin just, like, with, like, golden eyes would be perfect for the like, in-game, you know? So, like we're saying that's the base skin, well, then his classic comic suits in needs to be in the game, because they don't look the same. They look similar, but they don't look the same. And then Toby Trilogy suit, like, bro, add this in the game instantly. If it's his drop skin, that's straight $20 you get straight from me. And then next is his No Way Home suit with like the eyes, the purple hoodie, stuff like that. It would just look super dope, super, super dope. I know a lot of people that like it. You already have the No Way Home Iron Spider suit. Go ahead and add this in there. It would make so much more sense. All right. And I'm thinking for a recolor, Gray Goblin. He's not the same as Norman Osborn. He's still like a goblin though. So I think it would work. It's really easy to just throw him in there like that. That we can reference him. Some people don't like the comics, so maybe they won't reference it, but, I think it would work, especially as a recolor, like, if you don't really wanna reference the comic, but you kinda do, you can kinda do that with this. Next is Hobgoblin. The reason it says Lady Loki is, like, I think you can do a similar thing with Lady Loki, like, kind of make him, like, quote, unquote, "his own character," like, it's the same character, that's why you can kinda get away with it, especially, like, somebody like me that's, like, kinda critical about Lady Loki, like, I think you can get away with it here, like, and you could even record new voice lines, I would say, because they kind of do sound the same, but they kind of don't. And if you're like, Josh, you don't really need to do all this, then just make them legendary. I think Hobgoblin deserves that because Hobgoblin is his own character, but even I can't make the argument that he needs to be as like a separate character because like and I make that argument all the time for people, and I'm like, no, 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 don't make him a skin, make him his own character. I'm be so dead ass with y'all. I could not even make that argument here. Just like make him a skin, but give him the respect to where it's not just a recolor and it's a legendary and possibly even a Lady Loki type respect. Where he has his own icon, that'd be really cool. Next is Ultimate Spider-Man, the newer comics. It's kind of like an armor suit. So if you've seen those comics, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, because we already have like Ultimate Comics suits in the game. Like we have Storm, and then who else do we have? I don't know. Basically, what you get what I'm getting at. They should add that in the game. I think it would look super dope. Iron Patriot, without a doubt, you need to add Iron Patriot, bro. Please add Iron Patriot. Like, it's one of the most famous things about Green Goblin and Norman Osborn. He needs to be in the game. And then next is Red Goblin. So if you don't know what Red Goblin is, it's basically like Green Goblin, like mixed with Carnage, and it's just like the most insane thing you've ever probably seen. It needs to be legendary. Nothing below that. You know? Like literally nothing else besides that. It needs to be legendary. If it's not legendary, like you've literally dropped the ball. And then it says Phil Urich, Green Goblin. So this isn't like like I know it's not Norman Osborn, but the costume. Obvious Green Goblin is just insane. I love it, and it needs to be in the game. It's kinda just like a really mangled and, like, insane Green Goblin, so, like, please, 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 add that in eventually. Because like, Rivals does a good job at that, like, when they drop a character and then they add, like, some, like I don't wanna say niche, but, like, alternate designs that, probably most people haven't seen really, but they are in the comics and they are, like, pretty, like, prevalent, like they have been there for a few issues and stuff like that. Like that's what I kind of see this skin as, and I definitely want it in the game. Like when I think about stuff like that, like I think about that one Thor skin, the one where he's like he has like the puddle emote where he's drinking out of the puddle. Cause like I didn't really know that skin, but then I saw it online. Like I looked at the comic and I'm like, oh, this is a pretty cool skin. I would have never like really thought about it. Like I don't want to say it's niche because it's not, but it kind of is, and that's what I'm kind of getting at with this. Like I said, it's not Green Goblin, but like it is Green Goblin. Like it's not Norman Osborn is what I'm trying to get at, but it's definitely a cool skin. So I really hope they add that costume in there eventually. And this can be an epic. Like that's like I don't really care. It can be an epic. But yeah, and then next, accessories. So you gotta add your boy. You gotta add his son, Harry Osborn. You gotta add him. Without a doubt, you need to add Harry Osborn. It's his kid. It'd be really cool. And then like if you really wanted to go crazy, you could like have him in like Goblin outfit too. Because at sometimes he dons the Green Goblin, or sometimes his own father like puts the Green Goblin suit on him to frame his son. So I don't know. You got to go either way. But definitely you definitely need to have his son as an accessory. It doesn't say here, but definitely you could put Norman's wife. Like I know sometimes she's dead, or she's not there, but I think it'd be really cool if you address that, or maybe even the butler from the Toby movies. That'd be kind of cool. I would definitely like that. So that'd be kind of cool, and those could definitely be like secondary accessories. So like you never know. Okay, next Spider Man. So that, like I know people are gonna be like, oh, that's kind of like a cop out. But I mean, if you think about it, Spider-Man is his biggest, well, I mean, he is his only like fucking main foe. But like, Green Goblin, Spider-Man's biggest foe. Like they go like this. They are like that. It's Batman and Joker, Lex Luthor and Superman. So like, it makes sense. And you're gonna obviously see. So spoiler, you're gonna see more Spider-Man accessories for the rest of the Sinister Six. But it's not just like, oh, like let's do a Kingpin type thing from Bloodhunt where they're all the same thing. No, I want it to be where the Sinister Six members each have Spider-Man, but one, he looks different as accessory, and two, like I want it to be unique to that Sinister Six members. So like I don't know, maybe like Green Goblin gets upset whenever he gets a kill. When he gets a kill, the animations he throws like a bunch of like bombs and he just like blows up Spider Man. Stuff like that. His suit's like flying back down. Like I want it to be like representative of the character, of like their characteristics in the sense that like they hate Spider Man so much that even their accessories like basically them like killing him like in the KO animation in their own like sadistic way. Like I think that'd be like really cool and really funny. And then lastly is Otto Octavius, quote unquote Doctor Octopus. Sometimes or like a lot of times in the comics, like their colleagues when they first started off. So I just think that'd be like really cool and kind of like I don't want to say like a deep cut, but kind of like a deep cut. Like for those who know that they were ex colleagues before they had their like big breakup. Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. One thing I do want to address real quick. Is for his ultimate. I know some people are gonna be like, "Why didn't you just make him, transform into like the big Green Goblin?" The short answer is I just didn't want to, because that just seems like the simplest thing you can do. I wanted to make it cool, like, and I wanted him to like, not just be like this, and then boom, like I wanted it to be like, oh, that's a cool, ultimate, like he is using more of like other things that we've seen in the comics. I don't know that like I know somebody's gonna say something about it, so I wanted to address it here before I move on, but that's basically it. And, if Rivals does add, that as ultimate, it's like whatever. Like, and the way I see it is like it's kind of like a Hulk ultimate. So I don't just want it to be like, oh, I'm gonna get really big. Like I want it to be, different and unique. So that's basically it. Those are his accessories. There's like I don't know how many more you could do, like whatever you really wanted to. But those are the ones I want. I think those are super cool. This is my Green Goblin. I really like it. I think it'd be super fun and annoying. Just like Green Goblin myself, but yeah, definitely excited. All right, next big dog, Electro. Electro. I actually really like Electro. I actually like all these characters, and I know you're gonna be like, "Well, yeah, that's why you put him there." Yeah, and you would be correct. But I do think Electro is a super cool character. He's actually one of the official founding Sinister Six members. He would also be a DPS, 250 health, 3 out of 5 stars. All right. So his primary fire, electromagnetic flow. So for a man made of pure electricity, it would be most fighting. Hmm? Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. I know what I was trying to say here. It'd be most fitting to use his notable power as his main fire. So basically, just it would make the most sense to use electricity as his main attack. The way that his main fire would work, it'd be similar to Winston in the sense that it sort of looks like it's like tickling and taking damage away. So if you know anything about Overwatch, Winston is the monkey, or as other people know, Winton. Anyway, he has like this electricity gun that like it's not just like like shooting like missile like ammo or anything. It's like electricity, so it kind of looks like it's tickling you. That's what this would do. Maybe like a little more aggressive that way because he's a DPS. He's not just like he's like you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. That's basically what I'm trying to get at. It would look like that. I'm not saying it would do damage like that. Obviously, he's a DPS. He can do like more like insane damage, but just in the sense like he's putting his hand out and he's like doing like electricity like he's like "Arr!" That's basically what I'm trying to get at. As opposed to like blaster shots. Yeah. So instead of Iron Man's like or like somebody going boom 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 boom, he's like that's basically what I wanted to get across. All right. So you have to be moderately close in order to do damage, obviously. So you can't just be like Iron Man going boom, boom, boom. You have to be close and you have to like not crazy, like up in their nose close, but you do have to be moderately close, like in order to do the damage. Next, now the primary fire would be working, also be working off of a meter mechanic. So if you hold down the button for too long, there would be kind of like a cooldown effect that would be needed. So like you can't just be like the whole time, he's not gonna be broken like that. So, like, if you're holding them down, like, let's say his hands are like, "Ah," and then he goes back. Just maybe something like that, I don't know. He just has that meter, so you've seen it before where it's like, "Ooh," that's you don't have to talk about it's, kinda like in, guns, like, when you're, like, using the machine guns and, like, it overheats, kinda like that concept. So it has 2 ways this can be used, the one-on-one attack or the team attack. So if you're attacking an enemy that is near a lot of enemies, you would do reduce damage. So like basically, let's say your Electro's here, and then like I don't know, Iron Man, Spider Man, Storm. So if they're all pretty close to each other and you're attacking, the damage is going to go outward. It's not going to just be on Spider-Man. So it would hit Spider-Man, do his damage, but it'd also be hitting Storm and Iron Man doing, also damage. And since it's doing damage to all three of them that are moderately close to each other, you wouldn't be doing the same damage you would be if you're just going, against Spider-Man. Like let's just say it's Electro and Spider-Man, you're doing damage. Well, he's going to do more damage to Spider-Man here than he would be against Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Storm. You know? All right. Like I said, it would connect to nearby enemies, and then obviously it'd have a drop off rate. Like if Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Storm are here, and I don't know, Squirrel's back here, like it's the electricity's not gonna hit that far. Okay. You do reduce damage, like I said. Electricity would connect nearby enemies, taking their damage. Also, option two is one-on-one, where you'd be doing a lot more damage for the enemy. Okay. So this mechanic could also be seen as passive if you really want to get. Yeah, that's basically what I was saying. Like, if you want to get technical, that could be as passive that like his ability connects to others, but I don't think he really has a passive here. All right, high voltage transformer. This is his movement ability. So the only fast way for Electro to move is in a hurry to move in and out of electronics. And while this would be extremely hard to do in Marvel Rivals, the next big thing would be like a teleporter. So like yeah, like I don't know how many electronics are in the map. You can't just be like, oh yes, me Electro will fly through all of these. Like that would be insane. That would be cool, but that would just be insane. It wouldn't be logical to do that in Rivals. So like what I'm saying is, like, I think the easiest way to do that is just, like, have a teleporter, at least in my opinion, like, I don't know. You could do, like, a Wanda thing where he, like, goes on an orb and he, like, flies away. That would be cool, but at least to me, I think a teleporter would work. So, like, basically how I came up with it is, like, think Symmetra's portal. It would sort of work like that. The difference is that it would have 2 movement abilities. So you would still have the portal in the sense that, like, um I'm gonna place the portal here, and I'm gonna move to it. So, like, maybe you need that primary portal that you go through or that you press to move to that second one, or maybe you don't. I don't know. I think it'd be cool if you just had the secondary one. If you like are so close to it, then you can teleport to it. But I don't know. Maybe you need that primary portal, whatever. I like I said, I'm not a game dev, so I don't really know how that mechanic works. But yeah, you basically you put the portal somewhere and then you can move. So that's one ability. And then, like I said, since there's two abilities, there's a difference. Is that in the first one you have to move forward. You can't like you know, like in the sense that like you're moving forward like forward POV. Like you can turn around to your back line and put the teleporter back there to move back quicker, but you can't just be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go back facing forward," you know? So the first one, you have to be facing forward to move, and the second choice is either you can place another portal forward, or you can just go back to the initial portal. So, like, let's say, you're chilling out over here, and you put a portal, at, I don't know, point. Well, you go in there, you do your damage, and then you can either go forward, take more aggression, or you can just go back to where you were with your team and maybe like rush up with your team. I don't know, something like that. There'll also be a few seconds in between, so as not rush you completely. What I mean by that, um, I don't know, maybe just like the animation is what I meant. I feel like it shouldn't be too long. It should be kind of instant. Some extras is kind of instant. First to be forward, and the second one is a choice either forward again or backward. There's also a few seconds in between, so as not to rush you completely. I don't know what the fuck I was talking about, but yeah, you're basically just teleporting. All right. Oh, yeah. All right. So next is gonna be the secondary fire, more voltage. This is R1. It is simple not to possibly. It is simply not possible to limit the electro. So for his secondary fire, he would release a continuous beam of electricity. So instead of just throwing like, it'd kind of be like something like this. He's like doing a huge ass beam, damaging anything in its path. This ability would not take away from his primary fire, but would run as a secondary ability, and would run for a few seconds until the cooldown starts. So like I know that I'm saying Iron Man a lot, and I'm like when I'm coming his abilities, and I'm not trying to copy Iron Man, but like this is kind of like his repulsor blast. Like you have his like his main fire, and he's like he's doing this like he's like chest blast. That would be this, but this guy's not using his chest blast. He's just using like this. And Iron Man uses his actual ammo when he does this ability. That would not be the situation here. He would just be using the ability for as long as it works, and it'd just be like this constant beam that does like insane damage. You know. And, like, I wouldn't say it has a crazy cooldown, but it definitely has, like, a medium-sized cooldown. Alright, special ability, I don't know why I put R1 here, but let's go ahead and say triangle button. Ah! Alright, so triangle button, this is his get back. It's often hard to tamper Electro's temper, so in fits of rage, he would completely lose it. For this ability, Electro would release a huge surge of electricity, pushing back all enemies, doing knockback damage. So, real quick. Oh, I know what I okay, never mind. My B. This is L1. I was like, what is why did I put R1? Yeah, okay. So this is gonna be his L1. It's gonna be this one. So basically all it is like here's Electro, and let's say everybody's like coming at him from all angles. It goes, I don't know, let's say for some reason somebody's playing Electro and they're just like chilling on the point, by themselves. Like let's say their team died or whatever. It's just them. And then the whole team is like rushing them like around or everything. Like the Hydra map. They're coming in from the side, they're coming in from the front, he's getting rushed. Well, he's like, nah, King, this is not happening. Well, then he would press his special ability, his L1, and so like this is Electro, and it does like this huge like blast effect, like outward from his body in all directions, kind of like a huge circle, like boom. And it would knock all the like nearby enemies back, and it would do knockback damage. They'd be like, oh, that's basically what that one is. All right, next, the real triangle button. So, Master of Electricity. For a man that is made of pure energy, he cannot simply be limited to reloading. During this time, after you press the triangle button, you would enter a state where you are starting to receive extra damage that does not take away from your health bar, but actually gives you two options. So, it's only in this, like, once you press this button, that you stop taking damage, is what I'm trying to get at first. And you have two options with this damage, what you can do. So the first one is kind of be like the automatic one, where when you start taking damage, it converts into overshield with a max of 100. So he's what 275? No, it's 250. And you get 350 max. And then if you so choose to use the secondary ability, since it's already converting everything into overshield automatically, the second ability is to change your excess power into a passive ability where you do not need to cool down for your primary fire. So if you remember, I was talking about the meter and like once you kind of like beat that, you got to come down for the cooldown. Well, you wouldn't need this. You can start just going insane again, like you know. So I think that would make sense. I think that'd be like a really cool idea. I think it'd be a really cool idea. And obviously that would only last for as long as the ability lasts. And I think this ability should have like a pretty like decent sized cooldown. That way you're not just spamming this shit and going ape crap with Electro. So, but also nothing like a strange portal, you know. So there is that. All right. Next is his ultimate ability. So pure energy. For Electro, energy goes beyond just a physical body, and at the height of his power, he quite literally can turn into pure energy. So, like, real quick, when you think Electro, you think of 2 Electros. At least I do. You think of the man in the suit with the yellow like the yellow mask and the green suit, or you think of pure energy Electro from Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Main Electro in the game, in my sense, would be option 1. When he ults, he would turn into option 2. That's how I'm seeing this. That's why I'm saying pure energy, and it goes beyond just a physical body. So when it activated, Electro turns into pure energy. He, like, flies into the sky real quick, gaining flight abilities real quick so he can go up and down, move away. That way you can kind of position yourself before you do this ability. And then when activated, Electro turns into pure energy, flies. Oh, I already said that. Gameplay abilities. He gains the ability to throw down huge lightning bolts of concentrated energy that hit the ground, doing massive area damage. So, like, basically, you pop ult, you like turn into this huge energy. You go boom. Let's say you're positioning yourself. Let's say you're on the Spider Tokyo map, the convoy map, and the huge wall like tower is right here. You pop ult here, and instead of just being like hella, and you're just fucked. You can move over here, and then you start shooting the huge lightning bolts, doing crazy area damage. I wouldn't say he is like a 1 or 2 or like lightning bolts, but it will have like, he's like like he's gonna do 2 hands, kinda like Hela, you can use both of the abilities, like kinda like that. She doesn't have like a limited amount of ammo. So you'd be doing this, but it's obviously limited to how long the ultimate is and like how long the animation takes. Like you can't just be like it'd be like boom, boom, but like you can also go like boom, 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 boom. So that's basically what this one is. I think it's pretty cool. All right, next, team up abilities. First one is going to be familiar occurrence. So as the anchor, Electro would really. Okay, wow, that's cute. So he would receive a speed boost. Okay, yeah, I spelled it wrong. Okay, he would receive a speed boost whether he's team up with Storm and or Thor, who would receive a new ability that allows them to grab people with electricity, temporarily stunning them while pulling them either in or back for any possible combos. So basically, what I'm trying to say here is kind of like the Invisible Woman, like push or pull, but like how it would work, like physically, like how it would look aesthetically is like they would use their lightning and they'd be like they would grab you, like kind of like for the Amazing Spider-Man 2, where like Spider-Man throws something at Electro and like kind of grabs it with his electricity. That would happen with Storm and Thor. Like they grab somebody and they can either pull them in or they can like push them back. And that's what I mean by stunning them. Like they can't like move out the fucking electricity. They're like stuck in the electricity for the time being. So I think that'd be like really cool. So that would be for either Storm or Thor, possibly both. That would be really be broken. And then, like I said, Electro would get a speed boost. And this whole time, Electro is walking until his ult when he flies. So at least he's like for some reason just like high in the sky. I think a cool passive though would be the kind of like a Hella thing where he can like float or like Rocket 2 where he floats. You got to hold down the button. So or I wanted to also. So we're gonna add that real quick. Let's see where his passive was. Oh, I forgot. I didn't add a passive. All right. Well, I'll do it later. But basically, remember his passive would be like if he's from a high distance, he floats down if you so choose. Also, the meter. All right. Second founding member. So, as one of the founding members of Sinister Six. Okay. So this is kind of getting into the next character, which we'll see in a minute. So, spoiler: it's gonna be Mysterio. Um. So. As one of the founding members of Sinister Six, Mysterio would act as an anchor, receiving a small 20 to 50 shield boost. Oh, sorry, he would. He would act as the anchor, let's say, gaining a what do we wanna get what do we wanna give Mysterio? Let's say damage boost. Oh, wait, no, I was right, I was right, I was right, I was right. My bad. Yeah, so Mysterio would be an anchor who receives a small 25 to 50 shield boost, and the other 5 members of the Sinister Six, went on the team. Oh, wait, hold on. I don't know what sentence I'm trying to write here. As one of the founding members of Sinister Six, Mysterio would act as an anchor, receiving a small 20 to 50 shield boost. When with the other 5 members of Sinister Six. Okay. I don't know what type of sentence I was trying to write there. Whoopsie daisy. All right. So here we go. And then, so obviously the eligible members. What I went with this is the original 6. So I don't have. There's 2 of them that I don't have in this video. So I just didn't do it. But it is going to be with these 6, not the 6 that came up with in the video. So it's going to be Doctor Octopus, Electro, Craven, Mysterio, Sandman, and Vulture. So that's who works here. And remember, Mysterio is the anchor, and then all the other 5 are the recipients. And the members, when teamed up with him, they would gain a new ability that allows them to temporarily call upon Mysterio, a small Mysterio drone that would heal them. Similarly, this drone can be shot at and also has 50 to 75 health. So there's that. So basically, like I said, Mysterio would be getting a small 20 to 50 shield boost on himself, like overshield or whatever. And then all these other eligible members, in this instance being Electro, would get the ability where they could call a small Mysterio bot, which could come over, attach to them, and then heal them for the time being, which I think would be super cool. And it's only them; it's nobody else. It's not like an Ultron thing where it's like a radius. Whoever's in the radius gets healed, or no, because Ultron is it, like you don't. You're not placing it. You just like you're popping it and you start getting healed. We're just gonna leave it at that. All right, cool. Like no one else can get your healing, just you. There's no radius. He's just chilling out next to you, and you get the heals. And it's kind of like you're popping it, and maybe you could pop it before you even need heals. And since he's there for a few seconds, let's say you're taking damage, like you're about to, you're about to rush point, you pop it, and then you go out there, and then you start giving yourself heals. Like, sorry, you pop it, you go in there, you start taking damage, it'll automatically start giving heals. So it doesn't need to be in a moment where you need heals. Like you could pop it early in the instance that you're gonna do that. Something like that. I think that'd be like really cool. All right, last team up ability is shocking interest. So whenever Electro is teamed up with a fellow Spider-Man on his team, Spider-Man would receive a new ability that allows him to shoot out a web ball that explodes on impact and fires electricity on anyone or any surface that it comes in contact with, uh, s- salting them for a few seconds. Salting for a few seconds to stun anyone. Hmm? Salting for a few seconds and stunning anyone in the same duration. I think I meant to put. Let's see. Oh yes, yes, yes. I meant to put stain. Okay. So for example, you're like, what the hell are you saying? So for example, let's say you have 2 options. You can either shoot the wall, like a ground wall, whatever, and then like, I don't know, Electro's gonna like okay, here we go. Let's say you're on a team with Electro, Spider-Man, and Thor. So you get the team up with Thor and Electro, and then Spider-Man and Electro. There you go. Um, and let's say Spider-Man has an Electro web. So he shoots a ball that has electricity and he puts it on the wall. Let's say he puts it on the wall. Well, then he knows Invisible Woman or Thor could push the character into the wall. Well, then they start getting stunned. And when I say it stays for a few seconds, that means like, especially on the instance for a wall or the ground, like you don't just shoot the wall in the ground and it just goes away. Like it's gonna stay for a few seconds, and that's why I was saying like if somebody pushes them into there or they walk over it, then they get stunned for a few seconds. They're not able to move. Or the same thing goes for like if you just shoot them directly, they're not gonna just be like, "Oh, I got hit," let me just keep walking. They're gonna be like, they're gonna be stunned. That's basically what I was trying to get at. I know my wording wasn't the best, but and like I said, Electro basically. For Electro, who is the anchor, he received a damage boost. So that is that. All right, so possible suits. So ideal suit for base game, at least for me, would be similar to Marvel Fight for Future Fight, where his mask isn't like the whole big pink. It's kind of just like more like modernized or like helmet type of version, which would be kind of cool. Or you could really go like just I wouldn't say my primary choice, but like maybe a secondary choice is to do like the scars for his mask, kind of like PS4 Spider-Man game. That would be kind of cool. But, yeah, I just kinda want it to look more modernized. 'Cause don't get me wrong, don't get me wrong. I love the, like, kinda, like, crown on like, the face mask, but I think it would only look cool for, like, the OG, like, comic, like, classic year 1 type of skin, at least in my opinion. And that's what I, put here, like, kinda derpy, but still cool. Like, it needs to be in its classic skin, and that's why I, like, try to make, like, a difference here, like, I want it to look different than the base game skin. All right. Next is the No Way Home soon with Jamie Foxx. Again, it would just look dope. I want to see it. Just needs to be in the game. Like, there's nothing else I can really say. Like, I just want this to be a suit. Kind of like with Green Goblin. The Spider-Man suit from No Way Home's already there. Like the Iron Spider suit, I guess, which is not a No Way Home suit, but I mean, it's in there, but still, you know what I'm saying. Just add this in there. It would make sense. It would make the most sense. All right. Next is a recolor. So, there has been a blue Electro and a white Electro. They both look cool, and when I say this, I'm saying more that, like okay, so remember for the Ultimate, I said he goes into pure energy, that form from The Amazing Spider-Man 2? Well, the base Electro has the yellow and green colors, and at least for me, his base would not turn into pure blue energy, he'd turn into pure yellow energy, and that's what I'm saying for his recolors, he can have, like, a blue version, and then when he ults, he goes into pure blue, or, like, the white version, when he ults, he goes into pure white energy, kinda like, White Fox, where she has her alternate colors, but when she ults, her ultimate form is not just, like baby blue, it's navy blue or pink, kind of the same idea. That's kind of what I wanted here. And then next is Ultimate Comics, so the original universe, Electro. That's a really cool skin. Like, it's nothing like groundbreaking, but it is a really cool skin for especially for people that like the comic. Like, I really like his costume there. It's simple, but it works, and I think Rivals could do it like in a really cool way. I think they could really like amplify how cool it already looks with their design team. So I think it'd be really cool to add that. All right, and the next Electro suit with the blue mask. I know you're like, huh? Like, isn't that what you just said for the recolor? No, there's an Electro suit that I really like, and I literally could not find the name of, like, what it's called because sometimes, like, when I do these, like, I look up, like, different versions of the suits, and, like, I, like, try to use their, like, name of, like, the run or, like, who draw them, stuff like that, and I, like, really couldn't find any, like, basis for that. Okay, thank you, chair. Basis for that here, like, literally all I could figure out is, like, it just has the blue mask. Like, okay, so, like, he's bald, he has a blue face mask, and his, like, suit is, like, kinda it's green and yellow, and it's not exactly like the classic suit, but it is different. And I just really, really like this design. I want it to be in the game. It's kinda like that niche thing I was talking about earlier where, like, some people know it, some people don't, but it is, like, pretty integral to, like, the history of, like, over time he has used this suit, and that's what I want here. Like I said, I literally could not find the name of this, so I can't be like, "Yes, quote, unquote, this comic run." Like, I don't know what it's from, so that's why I put Blue Mask. Alright, and then last, Electro 2099. It's a dope suit. I like it. He has, like, a skull, he's kinda crazy, he was even in the LEGO Super Mario Superheroes, 2 video game. So just add him in Rivals, I think that'd be super cool, especially since we already have 2099 skins, like, I think this would fit, like, perfectly, especially with the art style too, like, Rivals has a great art style for stuff like this, so I could not like, if they ever add Electro, I could not wait to see what he looks like here, but yeah. It would look really cool. Alright, next for accessories, it was kinda hard to really find somebody for, like, Electro, so like I said, I have Spider-Man. For this one, I'm kinda thinking, like, maybe he, like, gets mad and, like, fries him with electricity and, like, I don't know. I think what would be best and, like, a way to get around it is remember I was saying that the Sinister Six members are, like, killing or tear like, stuff doing, like, that type of thing to Spider-Man. I think it would work if, like, in the, like, reaction thing off to the side, like, it's a Spider-Man plushie, so they're, like, blowing up or, like, just demolishing a spider with bloodshed. I think that'd be funny. So like for this one, he's like doing electricity, and maybe like the head pops off, and there's like fluff coming out or stuff like that. I think that'd be like really cool. Or like maybe he's like shocking Spider-Man. You can see like like the thing from the cartoon where you like see this like it's like their body's all black, but you can see the bones. Like when they get shocked or something like that. I think that would be like super super cool. All right. And then last, his accessory, it's gonna be Francine Fry, who's also Lady Electro. So in the comics, Electro actually has a girlfriend, which is Francine Fry, and then eventually she becomes Lady Electro. I think this would be like a really cool deep cut for that. Like I know she like some people do know Lady Electro because she's kind of like in some of the modern cartoons. So I think it'd be a good way to bring that in. The people that used to know her from the old comics, and then kind of blend it in, and also the people that don't know, they can get added in there too. I think this would be like really really cool. And I could really see this one being added. Alright, so next, we already kinda hinted at him before because I was like, I talk about the team up, but boom, we got your big dog Mysterio, and I love Mysterio, bro. I love him. He's cool. I cannot wait to add. And speaking of which, I've seen so many people talk about Mysterio too that like he needs to be in the game, and like, yeah, I completely agree. He does need to be in the game. Like he would work so well. But, and I actually used his ultimate. Like, I didn't steal anybody's, but I used the idea, from what I've seen before online. So whoever's idea it is, the idea, like, the idea ownership, whatever you wanna call it, goes to, like, whoever came up with the idea. Like, I'm not calling it my own idea for the ultimate, but that's basically I wanna get that out of the way first. Like, the ultimate idea is not my own. I've seen it online before, and I thought it was super cool, so for whoever came up with the idea belongs to them, but I do think it'd be really cool, so that's why I added it here. All right, so most of Mysterio's kit, he would have the ability to call upon his tech drones, which we have seen in the movies, and he would have the ability to use real world magic. So if you know anything about Mysterio, he doesn't actually know magic. He just knows like sleight of hand, and he's an illusionist, and he worked in like the movie industry in the sense of like props and misdirection and stuff like that. But since Rivals is a game that has characters from different universes, I think it would be cool. Like if yeah, he does still have that background, but since, like, the world is just, like, going to shit, like, he has learned magic, or maybe this is another universe, like, where he does know magic, or maybe, like, something like he killed Doctor Strange and he's the Sorcerer Supreme of this universe, so he knows magic that way. So I think it'd be cool, like, obviously relating to the lore of the game, like I said, being a multiversal variant who has both. That's basically what I want. He has the tech and he has actual magic. That way, it makes it would make for a cool character. Alright, so Primary Fire, R2, or R2. Stagehands. So, for a man who's a genius in technology and master of illusion, it would only make sense for him to use these capabilities to the first furthest extent when saving the timeline. So, for a mysterious primary fire, he would have the ability to use his drones that would shoot for him. Um, so basically, here's Mysterio. He has his two drones, like right here, like flying, chilling right there. All right. So both of them would share about an amount of rounds, share an amount of 80 rounds. 40 split between the two. So you got this guy and these guys are chilling here. They're like basically what I'm trying to get at. All right. They're both visible to enemies and foes and have a health bar of 100. So you're not just Mysterio chilling here, like holding your hand out and like there's just bullets coming out of nowhere. Like like people are gonna see the drones and they're able to shoot at them that way. They can just like go. He's not just like auto aiming and shit. Um, if an enemy shoots at them, they become disabled for a few seconds, so that's where the cooldown comes from on top of them having to reload. But you have to shoot both of them to take them out. Not just one would not work. So what I mean by this is like you can't just shoot one and expect them to both go away because they have their own ammo counts. So like you're here and you shoot this one. Well, this one's still shooting. You have to shoot both of them in order for them to both go away. And so, like I said, they both have a cooldown, and they're independent cooldowns. So, like, let's say you're Mysterio and you're shooting them, and let's say I don't know, Hawkeye gets rid of your drone. Well, this guy goes on his cooldown. You still have this guy. Well, let's say Hawkeye is really good. He's a Lord Hawkeye. He gets this drone too. Well, now you're chilling here with no gun, no main fire. You're like, well, since this one went on a cooldown, now this guy's on a cooldown. You now have an extended cooldown on top of that. So it kind of like morphs into one cooldown. So instead of being like, I don't like this isn't the cooldown time, I'm just saying. So instead of like 10 seconds, you're like 30 seconds, you're like fuck. That's basically what I was trying to get up there. and it's not you have to shoot both of them. You can shoot one of them, but they're just not gonna both go down if you shoot one of them. That's basically what I was trying to get at. All right, next healing ability. So mist. I said he's a support. I don't know if I said that earlier, but I just want to get that out there. I don't know if I said DPS by accident, but yes, he is a support. So for his healing, Mystic Mending, which is gonna be his L2. So for a man of many tricks, his next is the ability to heal his teammates. For this ability, Mysterio would use one of his newly found or newly obtained spells to shoot out blasts of his hit scan, healing to all enemies. So kind of like Luna. So they would fire in a blast they like with a total of about 15 ammo. So like when I think of Mysterio, he's kind of like always in this pose where he's like. So that would kind of be like what it looks like when he's doing his primary fire. Like I said, he's gonna be chilling here, and he has his two drones. So he's gonna be like holding out his hand like this, controlling them, and they're gonna be shooting for him. And that's just one hand. On his other hand, he would be doing his healing. He's like, do, like with his hit scan. And on top of this, for like a cool aesthetic option, like I said, 15 before needing to reload again. Just wanted to get that out there. And for a cool aesthetic option, when he fires the healing blast, there would be like the green like triangle eye effect in front of his hand from Spider-Man Far From Home. So it'd be like on his wrist and out in front of his hand. Like so, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It's like the actual spell because he's using magic here. So he like it would be like moving and stuff like that, where he's like do, and then he'd be controlling his bots. So he'd be like boom, boom. That's basically what I'm trying to get up there. And I do want this cool aesthetic option. Like to me, it makes sense, especially if you have a Mysterio that knows magic. At least to me, it makes sense. All right, so passive. So fishbowl security. So one of Mysterio's most famous characteristics is his infamous fishbowl helmet, which is not not super aesthetic sometimes, but actually one of the main controls for his technology in his suit or like his illusions or whatever he's using. In the same vein, him having the fishbowl would act as an interference against all other enemy players, hiding him from any enemies that can scan players in the wall. So, like, let's say Punisher, like when he uses his, because that's not really through a wall, but his smoke grenade, he can see people through the smoke grenade, and then he can track them. Or Daredevil, stuff like that. He would be he would be outside of that. They would not see Mysterio. I know you're like, "What? That's kinda broken." That's the point, Mysterio's not you're not supposed to know where Mysterio is. He's supposed to be kinda hard to figure out where he is, so that's basically what I'm trying to get at. And then offstage. So this would be his other passive ability. So whenever Mysterio is killed in game, it would be revealed by a puff of green gas or smoke, whatever, that the one that the enemies just killed, but you, was an illusion, basically giving him a second life, kind of like Adam Warlock. And you have the ability to respawn somewhere uh, nearby of the character's choosing, and whenever he respawns, a huge green smoke appears, and he would walk out. So, like I said, basically, when you die, it's green smoke appears, and it's like, oh, you didn't actually kill Mysterio. I mean, you did, but in the sense that he has a second life, you'd be like, oh no, you didn't. Mysterio's actually over here. Then you would go choose kind of like Warlock, but not in the sense of like, oh, you may just like fly away like you see him. No, you just like go invisible and you go like hide over there, and then when you reappear, green smoke. The smoke comes back and you just like walk out of it, which I think it would be like a cool aesthetic choice. You're like, I'm gone, and then I reappear over here. Kind of something like that. I think it'd be cool. All right. All right. Then movement ability. No more wires. When using one of Mysterio's newly gained magic abilities, he would gain the ability to shoot up into the air, giving himself a better aerial view. While in this mode, he can move around like normal flying buttons, up and down, side, whatever, and use all of his normal abilities. So, like he can use his main fire, he can use his healing. You're just positioning yourself up in the sky. This mode is what long as lasts as you let yourself. Once you return to the ground, it has a long cooldown, so you can be up in the air. Like, and the way I was thinking about this is kind of like Angel. Like you can like Angel's a flying character, but you can go on the ground, and you like there's no cooldown until you get back up. You know, that's kinda like what I was getting at. Alright. And he'd actually be flying. Like, it would be like a quote unquote spell. That's why I said no more wires. Like, it's not just like, oh, he's flying on his drone or something like that. Like, he'd actually be flying. Alright. Secondary fire. Cognitive Conjurer. So one of Mysterio's most deadly spells grants him the ability to mind control one of his foes. This is his secondary fire, R1. Whenever used, you would hit somebody or not. Whenever used, whether you hit somebody or not, would have a massive cooldown. Oh yeah, so basically, this is a hit skin ability, and if you hit whether you hit somebody or not, you're gonna have a big cooldown because it's like a big ability. So like what let's say if you do hit somebody, whenever you do hit somebody, you take control of their character's mind for about 10 to 12 seconds, maybe 15 pushing it. I think 15 is a little too much. But if anybody's seen the Loki like Avengers 2012, like a Loki gameplay that I did on my stream the other day, like you can control like that's an ability. You can shoot somebody, you can control their kit. That's basically what this is. Um so basically friendly fire would be turned on and you can use their whole kit. Nothing's like off limits to you. Ult, flying ability, primary fire, shield, anything really. And the enemy teammates would be able to notice that you are being mind controlled because there'd be like a green aura around you. You're not just be like, "Yeah, fuck you, bro. I'm gonna hide as your I don't know, devil dinosaur or whatever." Like you could see that devil dinosaur's controlled. He has this green aura. Obviously, if he's attacking you, too, you'd be like, "Why the fuck is he attacking me?" But yeah, they could also be able to stop the mind control if they're able to stun the enemy, basically just kicking Mysterio out. So, like, I don't know, grounding or like the snowball, stuff like that. Moment that something like that happens, but Mysterio's no longer in there, and that stops the ability. Like, it goes straight into cooldown as soon as that happens. So there is that. All right. Next, his O button. So this would be current call. So whenever the haste, Mysterio can call in both of his drones with the ability to position them separately. So like, I'll get that in a second. So they would drop down, releasing gas in a line that would heal enemies, but also enemies cannot see through, proving useful as a means of escape or invasion. So I know it's kind of like what basically you have your two drones, the two fire ones, and what you could do is you can call them in, and whenever they come in, they do a line like they're gonna be flying. Like let's say this is them, kind of like think like planes from the movie, like the firefighter movie where they like drop the spray and it lets go of the fire, kind of like that, but it's turned into like a wall. So you call in the drone, and like before you call them in, you can position it. Like you get like kind of like a bird's eye view, and you're like, I want the drone to go this way, and I want the other drone to go this way. You're wasting time. You can get shot like while this is happening. So you do want to be like careful. And you don't have to use both. You can use one, but it's not going to be like a crazy wall for one of them. It's going to kind of be like a small wall. So like I was saying, you do want to be careful because like they can just like headshot you or whatever, like Widow or Hawkeye. I don't know, or Iron Man. Loki's just be like repulsor blasting you out of nowhere, like he always does. So you do want to be careful, but you kind of like can choose where they're going first. So you can have like a T, like a corner, maybe like an X, something like that. But basically, when they're flying by, there's this line that comes out after them with the smoke, and like I said, the wall's not huge, but it's not tiny. And then like people can walk through like your teammates and you can walk through the wall healing yourself, but like nobody can see through the wall. Like they can like shoot through it and hope that you're back there, but like you can't they can't see you. And I think like taking this a step forward, like maybe your teammate can't see through it either, but only like Mysterio can. Or like maybe you can, I don't know. But I do think that would be like a really cool ability. All right. Lastly, ultimate ability, Master of Illusion, and this is what I was talking about earlier. Like, I'm not really saying I stole this ability because I'm not claiming this is my ability, like, this is my idea. This I've seen this online, like, I give this to the community and whoever came up with this, but basically and I just thought that was a really cool idea, and I really wanted to put it in here. So, basically, Mysterio's greatest trick ever is able to turn everybody into clones of himself, turning on friendly fire and all of him healing himself and all of his allies on his so basically all of his teammates. Passively, during this time, Mysterio would be able to see who, like, out of everybody that's in the radius that got turned into Mysterios, who is like his clone, like from his clones. He'd be able to see who's his teammates, and then who is like the other team. Like over here, like obviously you'd see their names, but when this ultimate happens, only you could see names. No one else could see names. No one else could see like red or blue color, or whatever color you have for your teammates. They would all look like Mysterio. So you'd be like, shit. Like I said, friendly fire's on, but like as Mysterio, you could be like, oh, Samurai's right there, and then I don't know, the enemies over there. Like maybe Flats is on the other team. You're like, oh, Flats is over there. Samurai's over here. Stuff like that. But like I said, as the enemy, you wouldn't be able to see that. They would all look the same. And like I said, friendly fire's on. So if you're trying to shoot, you gotta figure it out. And I think taking this a step further is everybody just has like a primary fire where you just like shoot like maybe like gas balls or something like that. That way you're like 'cause, like, if you start shooting, then you're, like, giving like, you might be giving away, like, "Oh, this is Iron Man, he has a repulsor blast," something like that. So I think everybody just has, like, I don't know, like, maybe, like a shooting effect or something like that, so actually, you know what? I say he stays with his melee his main attack, that way it's not, like, crazy broken, everybody's like, "Oh my god," there's Mysterios everywhere because you can kinda just go, like, "Do, do, 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 do," with the SMG type, drone. But, if you fucking doing that and you just, like, kill half your team, and you're, like, kinda fucked. But yeah. So I think we're just gonna stick with that for their main fire, that way, they do have a firing ability, and you're not just, like not everybody's just, like, standing there, like, you know? Um, yes. Like I said, you'd be able to tell, who amongst the clones, but no one else, causing total havoc. Ba-ba-bum. Ba-ba-bum, hold on. Let me add this real quick, the thing I was talking about. Alright, there you go. The drones. Bueno. Alright, cool. Similar to Invisible Woman's ultimate, that if you kill Mysterio before its ult is finished, you would prematurely stop the ult. So, like, let's say you're using the drones, and you somehow magically pick the right Mysterio. The moment you kill him, everything goes back to normal. That's basically what that is saying. So, shoot wisely, I guess. Alright. Forgot to add this. It's driving me insane. All right, next is team up ability. So we already kind of talked about the founding member one. Like I said, he gets the shield boost. Everybody else gets the drone. Um, and then next is Illusionist Supreme. So when teamed up with Doctor Strange, who is the anchor and gains an overshield boost, Mysterio would receive an upgrade to his primary fire, where he receives a shield. Hmm? Anyway, I don't know what that was. Um, Mysterio would receive an upgrade to his primary fire, where he receives a shield in front of it for about 25 shield. Overshield. Basically, this would be a small shield. Kind of like when I say similar to Strange, I mean like aesthetically speaking. Like when Strange puts up his shield, it's like the orange and like everything's moving. So basically, as you're doing your main fire, your drones would get those tiny little shields in front of them. That's basically all I'm trying to say. Like you don't get the shield. It's the drones get the shield, and it kind of just looks like a strange shield. That's basically what I meant. So that's super dope. So you get this 25 overshield for the drones on top of already having what was it? 100. So your drones would be now 125, a little harder to kill. That's basically what I'm trying to get at. All right, next. I know you guys. I know you guys saw that next character. Possible suits. It is. Oh shit! Did I not put my accessories here? What the chat? Sorry. Basically, possible suits is gonna be this classic comic suit. So this, I kind of put this like kind of worried, like how would rivals make Mysterio in the game without him like looking the exact same as classic comic suit? So I don't really know how they would add him in the game, but I still would want him in the game, like with his comic classic suit, if he does look different from base skin. But I mean, if he doesn't, then we don't need the classic comic suit, obviously. Next is this Far From Home MCU suit. I love that version of Mysterio, and I definitely want him in the game, so he should be in the game. And then Shattered Dimensions. So if nobody's played this game and you're like, what is this? Basically, Mysterio, instead of just having a cape and his huge like fishbowl, it's kind of like a oval fishbowl, and he has like the huge cape, and it kind of comes over him, kind of like when people like do this, like kind of like that look. And he looks dope. He looks dope from that video game. That's kind of like what that skin should look like. I really like that game. And I'm not saying it has to be straight from that game, but like that idea, I would like to be a cool skin. All right, and next is the PS5 game, Spider-Man game, basically Spider-Man 2. That suit is pretty cool. I would like to see it. Both this and Shattered Dimensions have a skull in his mask, so that would be kind of cool to see, especially if the base game does not have that in there. And then next is the symbiote suit. Um, I was love to see a Mysterio symbiote suit. Like, I think that'd be a cool idea. I would love to see how that looks. I'm sure Rivals could do like a crazy job. I know some people are like, "Oh, I don't want a symbiote suit." Well, I do. I think it would look cool. I'm an avid fan of symbiote suits. Next is a recolor. So there is a red Mysterio. Like there's nothing crazy about it. He's just Mysterio, but like red and purple instead of green and purple. So I think this would just be like a really easy way to like obviously honor that and then make him, a recolor. That way you don't have to like make this crazy legendary. I mean, you could if you really wanted to, but you don't really need to. And then next is Ultimate Universe Mysterio, new universe. His new costume in the Ultimate Universe is like really really cool. So I would definitely love to see it in the game. Like I say, we have seen Ultimate like comic skins in the game, which are kind of like modern comics. So you can't be really be like, oh, that's too early. Like you can't add that. I think you could add it. In my opinion, I think you could add it. All right. I again, and I don't know why these just aren't here, but let's go ahead and add these. So the first one would be Spider-Man, obviously. And then how would I do this one? Basically, it would just kind of be like, I don't know, maybe he oh, okay, here's a good one. Here's a good one. Maybe Mysterio's like messing with Spider-Man, or there's like three Mysterios like poking Spider-Man, and then Spider-Man like shoots a web, like whenever you get the kill, and then all the Mysterios just fade, and like a piano or like that huge like weight that you've seen in cartoons just like falls on Spider-Man, and then he gets up and he has like the little like the eyes and like the thing above his head. Like I think that'd be funny. I think that'd definitely be pretty funny. And then next is the oh okay. Next is the villain, the Wizard, which if you've never seen before, he's kind of like this dude with like armor, like purple armor. He's like this huge like helmet, and he's like a really. They've actually mentioned him in the Fantastic Four First Steps movie, and he's a really cool character. He's in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, and supposedly he's actually like really good friends with Mysterio. So I think that'd be like a cool way to reference that they're good friends, stuff like that. So I think it'd be really cool to see it in the game, especially just as an accessory. Especially if, like we never get to see him, like in Rivals. So that's super cool. And then next is like because Mysterio is like a little like he's so egotistical. So I think it'd be cool, like kind of like how Tony Stark has like a little tiny Tony Stark. I think it'd be cool to see a little tiny Mysterio. I think that just makes sense for Mysterio. Somebody as egotistical as him. And then lastly, like if you don't want to go that way, you can just give him like a little baby drum. I think that'd be super cool. All right. And then sorry about editing this like real quick, but all right, there you go. That is basically Mysterio. I really enjoyed that. I love Mysterio. I think he's a great character. I really like him. I hope you guys liked him. And then let's move on. All right, Craven. I know you guys saw this like 5 different times when I was fucking near the end. And I know your first thought is why is he a support? Like, I gotta be so honest. The only answer is because I think it'd be such a cool and dope idea. It's really the only thing about it. I think it'd be super cool. I want to see it. Let's go ahead and get started and do it. So he's gonna be like I said, he's gonna be support. He's gonna be 275 health. He's gonna be 3.5, possibly 4 out of 5 stars. I don't really know where it could be. Like I'm kind of leaning towards 4, but it could be 3.5. Like I know we don't do halves in rivals, but it's kind of like in between there. And like I said, I wanted him to be a support, and I hope this like proves my point for him to be a support. Like you could very easily just have him be a DPS. And I know like that goes for a lot of characters in Rivals, like they could just simply be DPSs. And I like when they don't just make people DPSs just for DPS sake. Like that's why I want Cyclops to be a support. And like sorry, whoa. That's why I want Cyclops to be a Vanguard. Okay. I don't know what I was saying there. It needs to be a tank. And the same thing goes for Craven, like, you could just make him DPS, yeah. But I think it would be cool if you did something different and you made him a support. And hopefully I'm able to convince you of that by the time, like, I'm done with this kit. So just bear with me, don't be like, "Samurai, you have such terrible ideas," Like, be like, "Okay, maybe you don't like the whole kit, but you do like this one idea," or something like that. That's basically what I'm trying? Like, I'm not just trying to be like, "Copy paste DPS, DPS, DPS." Like, I am trying to, do something different. So do give this Craven the benefit of the doubt. All right, primary fire. So, a like Craven the Hunter, world renowned hunter cannot be limited to just one simple weapon, but rather he can use all of his tools. So he can switch between 2 weapons. The first one is the Spear of Destiny. For a hunter that is as famous as Craven, it only makes sense for him to use his primary weapon to be. Only makes sense for one. His prime. Okay, I don't know why I put his. to be his trusty spear. When using this weapon, Craven can throw it at enemies from long. Okay, I guess a long. No, it's gonna be long. Long or short ranges. Obviously, like if you're up close, you can just like throw your spear. But if you're like farther away across the map, you can still throw your spear. It might have like drop off, something like that. But obviously, as you play him and he drops the game, you'd figure that out. Be like, oh, he can only go this distance, or you can just be broken. You can go across the map. I don't know, whatever you wanted to do. So the spear would have about three uses. So you have three of them, kind of like Panther in the sense where you like have multiple spears and like each of them have their own cooldown. The same idea. Each have their own short cooldown, like I said, that reloads, kind of like Panther, basically. And then when you hit it, it has a passive poison effect that slowly takes away enemies' health. Yeah, that's basically what it is. So it's kind of like a poison tipped spear. So, and then if you throw multiple at one person, it would tack on that poison effect. So it'd be like poison times two, poison times three. You know. Hopefully by then you're not just spamming the spear arrows, or sorry, the spears, and you get poison times five, poison times six. Like hopefully you're not, being annoying like that. Hopefully you use the rest of his kit to kill the character before you get to that point. But yes, he would have a spear, and then his secondary ability that you could switch to is his Bowie knife. So this is equipped. Craven is equipped with his trusty knife that is a melee attack. He's kind of just like, however you want to really do it. That has I don't know why I put reload. It literally has no reload. It has no reload and a fast swing rate. So you're like, you're going apeshit over there. Helping him in up close combat and combos. So like, let's say Craven here, you know, he's able to what am I saying? Oh yeah. So you throwing your spear and you're doing poison effect, and then I'm gonna get into this later. He gets stuck in a trap. Well, then you're able to go up close there. You don't need to throw a spear. You only have three. You start using your knife. Going ape shit. You know. All right. Next, healing ability. L2. So for this, it would be his healing trap. So Craven is known to have many traps amongst him, but not all of them are actually deadly. So this is, I mean, most of them probably are, but this is his primary healing ability that once placed down will work with his other abilities. So I'll get into that in a second, but basically, whenever Craven does this damage using his main fire or other abilities, not his spear, because his spear is already. You know what? No, we're gonna. I say you can use this. Mm, okay, this is how I'm going to say it. When you use his spear, the initial throwing damage will count towards his healing trap, not the poison uh, damage that takes down. So, so whenever Craven does damage using his abilities, the trap will act as an AOE healing circle for all nearby enemies that are in the circle. So basically, you have this healing trap, you place it down, and it's just gonna be sitting there until you start doing damage. It's gonna start like it's not gonna grow. It's gonna be automatically be like kind of low keys. You kind of like it happens, and the circle goes straight to its shape. It doesn't like inch out. It's just you kind of have the circle already, and like your teammates could see the circle, like how big it is, and they're standing in there, like whatever. Maybe it's the back lines. Back lines are chilling over there for some reason in your circle, and as you're doing damage, they're getting heals are getting pumped out to them. So that's basically what I'm trying to get at there. And like I said, his Bowie knife would work for this. His spear would work. Only hitting them, not the poison effect, would work for the healing. All right, passive ability. So animalistic nature for a hunter like Craven, he would become more like he must become more like a prey in order to hunt them down at their lowest point. Due to being one of Spider-Man's most fierce foes, he has learned to properly climb walls, even in the need of in the need of doing so. So basically, his primary is that he would just be able to climb walls. Uh, this would just be like any other character that can climb walls. Basically saying he has the hanging abilities I don't want to really say Spider-Man, but like he has the same ability. Like I'm thinking more Daredevil or like Black Cat and Venom. So like all four of them, like whenever they're hanging on the wall, like instead of just like climbing, they can like hang too, like standing like that. He would have the same idea. And then I forgot to add this. So every character can jump in the game. He'd also just have a double jump. I think that would make sense. He's Craven. He's like peak fitness. All right. Next is Nurturing Nature. This is other ability, passive ability. So for Craven's passive ability, he would give out heals for any of his healing from his healing trap. Whenever he does damage, the more damage he does, the more healing is given out. I kind of had to put it because that his it technically is his passive ability. So I already said it, but it needs to be put here. Basically, okay. Secondary ability. So his L1 left bumper. All right, bear trap. So, how good of a hunter would Craven be if he did not have a bear trap ready and waiting for some of his biggest foes? Like most hunters in the world use bear traps, so it only makes sense for Craven to have one. For this ability, you'd get one that you can hide around the map. So this is gonna be similar to Elsa's trap that once you place it, it is invisible until someone is trapped in it. Then it becomes visible again. So once an enemy steps on it, they're temporarily stuck until one of their teammates or Craven lets them go. So basically, whenever someone gets trapped in it, it'll send an alert to like your like so like if you are Craven and you're doing something else and you place your trap over there, like near the spawn and you forgot, it'll say like and it'll show a character's icon of who's trapped in there, like and I'll say Elson got trapped in your trap. It'll be like deep, let me make a sound or whatever, and it shows Elsa's thing. You're like, oh fuck. You have the option to let them go. Which I know you'd be like, why would I do that? But let's say you're nearby them and you're gonna do like a crazy combo. Let them go, make giving them false sense, and then you go in there, you start doing your thing, you know? So you do have the option to, or since the enemies can also see like their teammates, once they become visible and they get trapped, they can shoot at it too, just like Elsa's. All right, auto ping. Yeah, it'll also auto ping. So not only will it show you, but it'll like ping like on the map wherever they are. Like let's say you forgot where your trap is. I don't think that'd be very smart, but basically, like wait, where did I put the trap? You don't have to be like where did I put it? It'll ping for you where it is, which would be cool. All right. He also has the ability that if he wants to lock it, letting them go. Same to Elsa's, any of the allies. Oh, okay. Well, just terrible spelling all around. The enemy can shoot at it to break it. The entire time the enemy is trapped there, there's a constant bleeding effect that will have a few seconds, that will last a few seconds longer after the trap. The bleeding effect counting does count towards the healing trap. Yes. Okay, I do agree with that. But the poison, no. Poison, no. Healing, yes. Did I say that right? Poison, no. Bear trap, yes. I said healing. Okay, sorry about that. So yes, that would work. So maybe you wouldn't want to let them out as Craven. Maybe you need to heal your team. Okay. So what I mean by this part, real quick, that it would last a few seconds longer, is basically like kind of that's how I see like most bleeding effects. Like if you slash them, like the whole time you're not just like infinitely slashing like you slash them, but they still take the bleeding effect. So it's the same idea. Like they walk out of the trap and they're still receiving the bleeding effect until like a few seconds after, but then like their character's fine. It's not just like ah 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 ah. You literally just don't like you're like and you like let's go. You get broken like and then you're fine. That's basically what I was trying to get at. All right, cool. Next is secondary fire, so right bumper R1, which is his net gun. So for somebody like Craven, he will not easily let those who are flying who let those who have a flying advantage be ones to evade his capture. So he will use his net gun to even the game in intense aerial combat. Whenever you shoot this ability at somebody, a huge square-shaped net will go flying out, and whoever it hits will be hit with a grounding effect and temporarily trapped within the net. So it's not going to be like this crazy like attack. It's going to be like a square, not crazy big, not crazy tiny, but it'll be a square that if you I'm thinking like more of like an actual square because like my fingers aren't like perfect, so it's not gonna be like a rectangle. It's not gonna be a diamond. It's gonna be like a square that like make okay. Wow, my fingers like really suck. Okay, well, do I even have like a normal square in it? No. Jeez, I'm surrounded by. I guess this would work. No, here we go. Square. It'd be kind of like this, like perfectly square. Obviously not this big. Maybe this big. You get what I'm saying. But yeah, basically, whenever you hit somebody, you like wraps around them, it grounds them like instantly. It's not like, oh no, I'm slowly falling. Like you're like crapped, and you're like, fuck, I'm on the ground already. And then you're kind of stuck in it for a little bit, and then you can get out. So that's basically how that one works. For example, if you're aiming, okay, next part. This is my really cool part. All right. One special ability about the weapon is that it can go through your allies without affecting them. So, for example, let's say you're aiming at an Iron Man. I don't know why I like mentioned Iron Man so many times tonight. Let's say you're aiming an Iron Man in the sky, but your Storm teammate is in front of you, and you're like right here. Like you're Craven, this is Storm, this is Iron Man. So let's say you shoot the net, and then maybe Storm just pops up for some reason. Well, it's not gonna hit Storm. She's your teammate, and Storm's not Galactus. She's not gonna be like no net. No, the net is gonna go through Storm to Iron Man. But as it goes through Storm, it will heal Storm for the duration of what it go like when it travels through her, which would be really cool. It's not gonna be like crazy healing, but it's not gonna be like tiny healing. It'll be like a decent amount of healing. And so, it does the grinding effect that we already talked about, but it'll do the slight healing. So, example, as you aim at Iron Man, the net will pass through Storm, player healing her and bringing down Iron Man. Due to how intense its ability is, it would have a massive cooldown, so Kraven would have to use it wisely. So you can't just be like, oh, doing my job, healing. Oh, my team needs to be healed again. Let me use my net gun, because then you have this huge cooldown, you can't use it again. So you do want to be careful of it. You could do a cool combo too here, you have a net down there that nobody knows about, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm going after this Iron Man," or maybe you're going after Iron Fist. I know I'd be going after Iron Fist or Spider Man, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm so fucking tired of this guy as Craven." You shoot him with the net gun, boom, they fall straight into the trap. And maybe your Ultron or somebody was in the way, and they got healed too. So I think that'd be a really cool idea. Really cool idea. All right, next triangle button. Calypso effect. Craven is a man of intense passion, whether that be for the love of the sport, uh, or his love for his partner Calypso. So before he left to go help the time string entanglement. She gave him a parting gift to protect himself. This gift is a potion that Craven can use during intense fighting that will heighten his senses, revealing all nearby characters, making their noises louder and easier for them to detect. So not only would you be able to scan people through walls, but you could the volume went intense for Craven. So instead of being able to hear a flight light footsteps from across the map, you'd be able to be like, oh, I can really hear so and so, stuff like that. And then he would also be getting a speed boost and short self healing, basically. So you'd be moving faster and you'd start healing yourself. This ability would last for about 20 to 25 seconds. It would have a medium length cooldown, so not like Portal, but not like super 5 seconds short. I think it'd be really cool, especially with combos. All right, and the last, his ultimate ability. This ultimate ability, I'm really proud of. So I do hope you guys like it. So this is the world class hunting rifle. So how can the best hunter in the world not be able to help take down the biggest, baddest threat without the most intense weapon in his collection, his hunting rifle? So for Kraven's ultimate ability, he pulls out his hunting rifle, which has two effects. The first one being any teammate that you shoot, you heal them and you boost them over time, obviously. And then as for any enemy that you shoot, it does damage, obviously. Um, if you're able to get off a critical headshot, then it is a one tap. They're dead. But um, if you do body shots, it takes at least two shots to shoot them. So be aware, all who enter Craven's line of sight. So that's basically what that one is. I think it'd be really cool. Um, Brotherly love. So these are the team up abilities. And I know Chameleon's not in the game, but I do think if he would be, this would be a cool team up. So whenever he teamed up with his brother Chameleon, he would gain an ability that would let him become invisible for a short period of time. So he just press circle or whatever. And then for Chameleon, who's the anchor, he would get ability to become invisible for all tracking characters. So it's not just he turns invisible himself, he becomes invisible to the other teammates, the Punisher or the Daredevil, stuff like that. Which I think this one would be really cool. This is just a really cool one that I liked. I was really happy I came up with that. And then the founding member, we talked about that. You team up with the other Sinister Six, he'd get a drone. And then this one's Prey and Predator. I like this one too. I really like it. So whenever Craven is teamed up with Black Panther, Craven would act as the anchor. Yeah. Receiving a damage boost, and as for Black Panther, he gets a small vibranium trap that stays undetected, and after because you wouldn't be able to see it, and a bunch of movement can go over it, so it's not going to be like the bear trap where first person that steps on it, you're crushed. Multiple people can walk over it and stuff like that, or walk in front of it. Let's say this is the wall, and it's chilling right here, you can walk past it, and it'll start working. Um, so after much movement from the enemy team, it would shoot out a huge concussive blast, damaging itself in the process. So real quick. Similar idea to the concussive force of Black Panther suit from the movie. So basically, how this works is it's a trap that tracks a bunch of movement. Ah, it's Wakandan tech basically, and so after like a bunch of movement has been in there and it's capturing all the kinetic energy, it'll basically shoot that kinetic energy out, and that's why I said kind of like the Black Panther movie, like when he's taking the bullets and he releases that huge like blast of concussive energy. It's the same idea. And it would knock back people, whether up, if it's on the ground, if it's up in this on the ceiling, it can knock them down. I don't know, and knock them back. It's different spots depending on where it is. So I think these both team ups would be super cool. Brotherly Love and Praying Predator. So I would, and I think this one would definitely work, especially since we have Black Panther in the game. So I think it'd be really cool. All right, cool. Possible suits. All right, and I forgot to underline it. Cute. All right, so in my opinion, his weapons need to have the red energy blades as opposed to just metal, similar to Kraven from the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. So if you ever watched the cartoons, he has his things like his sword, not sword, his blade is like a red like energy blade. His spear is the same, stuff like that. And I think it just look aesthetically cool. And like I like the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. I know a lot of people don't like it. Personally, I do like it. I think it would just look cool as opposed to just like a plain, silver or metal, whatever. So if it's not in the game, I'm not gonna be like, but I do think it'd be a cool idea. All right. Next, it's kind of the same idea with Mysterio. Like, I don't know, like what his main skin would look like in game, but if it's not like his comic one, then add the classic common one. But if it is, then you don't really need to add it. So next is gonna be Spider-Man PS5 suit. That one's kind of like the comic one, but not exactly. But it still looks really cool, so I would like it in the game. You know. And then next is the black Spider-Man suit. So from the last series from Spider-Man, where Kraven actually kills Spider-Man, he dons the black suit, not the symbiote, just like a black like costume, and it looks super cool. I would love, to, love, love, love to see Kraven in this, especially if it's like a legendary or something. I think that'd be kind of cool, or just like an epic. I just think it'd be super cool if Kraven was added and he had this suit. All right, next suit. It's kind of weird to say because you're gonna be like, what? And some of you might know what I'm talking about, but probably a lot of people don't. So, when Marvel and DC collabed like a long time ago, I think it was like in the 80s or 90s, they had a bunch of their characters like mashed together. So, like Spider-Man and Superboy, they became a character. Wolverine and Batman, they became a character. Superman and Captain America, they became a character. And I think Craven and Cheetah became a character. And it was just kind of like it looks like a really cool character. He's basically like an animal, but he's still Craven. He's still a hunter. And there's like other versions of Craven that he is kind of like he becomes an animal or whatever. You can really take either or, but I wanted to take the moment to ask for these Marvel slash DC, like Marvel versus DC suits, because they are really cool, and I would love to see them in the game, which I think would be highly unlikely, but I still think it'd be really cool. And so basically, two takeaways: one, I really want to see the Marvel versus DC suits, and then second, I think it'd just be cool to see animalistic Craven. Like maybe he's like a lion or whatever, stuff like that. It's been done so many times before that it could really be whatever. But I do would like, sorry, I would like to see these Marvel versus DC Craven, or sorry, Marvel versus DC suits. All right, especially like the Wolverine one, that'd be dope, or the Cap. All right, basically all of them. All right, next is Zombie Craven. I've seen this one online. I just think it'd be cool. Like it'd be like such a cool idea. And like maybe his like if you know Craven, he has the what's it called? He has the lion on his suit, like on his jacket, and maybe it would be kind of cool to see like like a destroyed like lion face or something like that. Like that'd be kind of cool, like a zombie lion on top of him. So I think that'd be like really cool. I'd definitely love to see that. All right, next is symbiote Craven. So this is actually a thing in the comics. He's like a white symbiote. He's not just like a normal random symbiote like Venom. He's like its own symbiote named Poison, and he looks super super cool. So I definitely want to see this skin. I really want to see this one. It looks super cool. All right, next is Alexei Kravinoff. So from what I read, this is Craven's illegitimate son who ends up becoming just like Craven, like a world-renowned hunter. And like the reason I want this is because he looks super cool. He has like this like orange like face paint or tint up on the top part of his head, which looks super cool. And he has like dreads and everything. He just looks like really really cool, and I'd love to see that suit. Kind of like that like niche thing I was talking about earlier. And next is called it's not Craven X Raven, the Ultimate Hunter. So if you're like, the fuck are you saying? Yeah, that was my first reaction too. Um, so kind of like the backstory of this one is it's not Craven, but it is Craven because if you know anything about Mr. Sinister likes stealing people's blood and creating clones because he's just evil like that. So he kind of does the same thing with Craven, and then he like matches it with like some symbiote or some. He matches it with somebody else, and it basically creates this X Raven, and it's his own creature, but it's kind of a clone of Craven, but not really because he's mixed with all these other things. And he just looks super cool. He looks like a super cool costume. And I think it would be like a really cool legendary suit to see for Craven. So there is that. And then last thing is the Craven movie. When did this come out? Did this come out? Yeah, this came out 2024. All right. I know nobody likes the movie. I don't like the movie, but I do think it'd be cool to see that suit. You know, I like seeing the movie suits in the game. That's just me. I think it'd be really cool. Maybe other people don't really like that, but at least I do. You know. All right, last thing is accessories. So first off, you gotta add his wife Calypso. You got to. It makes so much sense. And then next is Spider Man. For this one, maybe you can do something where like he gets him in a trap, or ooh, maybe Spider Man's like in a grassy area, and he's like looking around, and the moment you get a kill, like Kraven puts a trap on him or something like that. You know, I think that'd be kind of cool, like one of those overhead maps from like Mousetrap. And then next is Chameleon, his brother. I think it'd be cool to have them together as an accessory. Only makes sense. And then next one is Alexi, kind of like the illegitimate son thing that we were talking about earlier, or literally any of his other kids. He's like a lot of kids, so it really could be all of them, one of them. I think Alexi's the most well known, so it makes sense. And then lastly is Grand Duchess, which is Anya Kravinoff, which is Craven's mom. She's not like a crazy big character, but she is like pretty relevant to Craven in a lot of his storylines. So I think it would be kind of cool to see his mom as an accessory, you know, especially if we get into more Marvel Rivals moments where we do have characters with secondary, third dairy, fourth dairy. Um, I know those aren't the proper terms, but like people that do have multiple accessories moving forward, like I think this would be cool. Like maybe he gets his Chameleon one first, and then he gets a Spider-Man one, then he gets his. Or actually, I would say he should get Calypso first, and then the secondary should be Chameleon, and maybe like 2 years time he has a Spider-Man and his mother one. Like I think those will all be really cool. All would be really cool. All right, before we get there, I hope I convinced you on Craven, like why he would be a cool support. If you don't agree with me, it's whatever. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Let me know down below, like if you're like, oh, I like this idea, but he could do better there. And this always goes for any character concept that I do. Like, let me know, like, Josh, I like this idea, but like, what about this? You know, or like maybe do this with this idea. Like, I like hearing the ideas. I think they're cool. Like let me know. Like I said multiple times before, I'm not a game dev. I don't really know that much like that. Also, all of what I'm coming up with is not the be all end all. I'm just excited to get characters like these that I choose to be in the game, and I also really like getting characters that I don't know in the game. So, like, I get excited sometimes. Like White Fox, I don't really know who that was, and I was excited to get her in the game. Or like Luna Snow, I didn't know who Luna Snow was before Rivals, and now I'm happy that I know her. And I talked about that many times before. These are just characters that I like and I really want to be in the game, and there's cool things about them that I think should be in the game. But if they're not, they're not. You know. So, like I said, this is just my opinion. So, let me know below. Let me know below. Like, Josh, that was a really cool idea. Josh, that fucking sucked dick. You know, just let me know. Definitely let me know. Definitely let me know. All right. Next is Doctor Octopus, the big dog. I would say this is probably the pinnacle right here of my characters. And now you're like, this is five, right? We're counting five. How is this the pinnacle? You have one more after this one. I don't know. This one I just think is the most complicated. Like that's why he's a 5 star. So Doctor Octopus has to be a tank. Has to be a tank. So if you notice, we did our two supports. Sorry, two DPS, two supports, and now we're on to our tanks. All right. So Doctor Octopus. Oh, sorry. I don't know if I said this. He also no, I did. Okay, never mind. We all get you. Never mind. All right. So he is a tank. He has 675 health, and he has a 5 out of 5 stars. And I know some of you are like, I gotta make that look when I see 5 out of 5 stars. I'm like, ugh. So to get this out of the way for aesthetic effect, he should be walking on his lower two arms. And if he ends up using those two arms, then he should so. Okay, so basically, this is how it should look like. So here you go. So let's say this is Craven. Whoa, let's say this is Doctor Octopus, and he has his four arms. These are his top two. This is our bottom two. So he's walking with these two, and then, like, let's say he needs to use those, well, then these would come up, and then these would come back, and he's, like, walking on the top ones. That's basically what I wanted to say. So he should just never be walking on his own feet on the ground. Also, his arm and other tech should be nanotech. I know some people don't really care for nanotech, just, like, as a whole, just, like, in general, but I think it fits the game, especially, like, the whole Marvel Rivals thing, like, he's in a different universe, maybe, like, advanced, technology or stuff like that. I just think it makes sense here, especially with the idea of, like, what I'm gonna get into later, like, his arms have different abilities, and, like, how does that make sense? Like, if the game's progressing and, how's he supposed to switch to this arm to that real quick, I just think it makes sense that way and just, like, lore-wise that he has nanotech. And, like, me, I like nanotech. I don't really have an issue with it. I know some people do, but, I mean, I don't know. This is just me. I like nanotech. I think it would fit Doctor Octopus. All right. So his primary fire is going to be Tentacle Bash. Bash. So for Doctor Octopus, he is a man that is defined by his immense creation and his most important being his robot tentacles. For his primary fire, he would have a melee attack, which is basically just where he uses said tentacles. He would work in a sort of like slapping manner. So he's kind of like bashing, like ah, ah. Maybe like bows, like ba 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 ba. I kind of just look like those car dealership things, like da 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 da. But yeah, I definitely do think that'd be super cool. Hit like da 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 like da da da. I don't know, whatever the animation wants to look like, Um, they would work at a sort of slap manner, like I said, and the range is not gonna be like super short, like he's like, but it's not gonna be like super long either. It's like da da da. It's gonna be like and then whenever he uses the attack or Doctor's Intuition, which we'll get into a second, it would feed his passive that allows him to use a secondary attack. We will get all into that in a second. I know that's a lot to take in, and I'll explain it, so trust. Don't you worry. All right. So for his mobility ability, L1. So I'm not trying to do like the clock. I'm trying to do like the controller. So mobility, Octopus Lunge. So for Doctor Octopus's movement ability, he needs the ability to jump to the front lines or run away as quickly as possible. To make this possible, he has a meter similar to Hulk's, where the longer you hold it, the farther he jumps, and vice versa. Shorter you hold it, shorter you jump. The jump ability also allows him to do so, but in the backwards direction without fully turning around. Like you don't have to be like holding it down and then be like, "Oh no, I need to turn around." You just move the fuck around. You can just like hold it down and then look up, and it will automatically flip you, which I think would be really cool, especially like with his like legs. If you're doing this and you like move up, then like you swap it like the top ones like hold are now on the bottom, and the bottom ones are now on the top. I think it'd be like really cool, especially for Doctor Octopus. Basically, you look up highest, and then you just flip around, and then you can use the meter. The meter's still like going. Basically, it'll reverse itself, like I said. I think it'd be really cool. All right, so shield ability, Doctor's Intuition. So Doctor Octopus is a very intelligent man. He has come to the fight very prepared and in making sure that his arms are ready for any obstacle that comes his way. He is not a man that simply copies other, but rather improves upon their ideas and becomes a superior model. See what I did there? Superior. He does not simply just sit back and take damage uh, to a shield, but rather he has a parry ability. So he's not going to just have like a normal shield. Every time that you are able to properly. Oh, okay. Time and parry and oncoming attack, he gets over shield. So he's not going to have a shield basically. Just like if you're able to parry it, like in like Elden Ring and all the other games, then you get overshield, and for each one, you get more and more overshield. So on the flip side, if you do not parry and time correctly, well then you get taken damage. That's basically what that one says. And if you don't parry it and time it correctly, then you take the damage and the ability goes on cooldown. So this ability works against all ultimates too. They are projectile based. So you can't use it on a Wanda ult that's not projectile based. You can't use it on a Luna Snow. Like it's like I'm gonna parry Luna Snow. Like fuck Luna. Like something like Iron Man or maybe like Bucky. Like those would definitely work. So you can't just be like fuck. I'm gonna parry Adam Warlock. He's not gonna revive the team. So you can't do that. So yeah. But you could parry a Spider-Man's ult. Now, I don't know how, like, you can't just, like, hold down the parry button, like, you have to time it correctly, so that is something I wanted to get across. Like, you can't just hold it down, you have to time it. That way you get the overshield. So the overshield will cap at 125. So like I said, you can like it's for each time you parry. The ability would be similar to his primary fire, and it would feed into his passive ability, which allow you to use a secondary fire. So we're about to get into that in a second, because like it's right here, and the passive ability is like right above that. So just keep that in mind. His primary fire and his parry ability, quote unquote shield ability, feed into his secondary fire. So all right. So next is passive ability. Otto Octavius is very intellectually gifted, and complex man, and the same should go for his in-game kits, as you can tell already. 8 arm grab. So there's a no-brainer when coming to Doctor Octopus, which is that he has the ability to climb up and down using the wall, using his arms. He does not have the same ability to stay on the wall for very long. So as I was talking about, like with Craven, like he can just stand on the wall, just like chill there for as long as he want. He's not gonna have this chance. Doctor Octopus is not gonna have that. He's a much bigger man, and he has very heavy tech, so when you're not moving on the walls, you need to be very thoughtful for where you're going, because you have a meter that tells you when you start becoming stationary on the wall, how much you have left until you fall, like, you just fall. Like, you're not gonna, like, take fall damage, you're just gonna fall, like, you're no longer gonna be on the wall. But if you're, like, climbing and then you stay still, and then you climb again, like, it's like, obviously, you're not gonna, like, fall, but you do like, the meter will appear at the moment you become stationary, like, after a second, like, if you're just like, "Boom, boom," and then you're, like, looking around here, and you're just, like, chilling there, the meter will start to, like, go down, and then if you walk up again, it'll, like, replace itself, obviously. So, don't be just, like, chilling there all day, you know? Alright, so next thing is nanotech charge. So, as stated before, both Tentacle Blast and Doctor's Intuition will feed into his passive, which is this ability. Yeah, Nanotech Charge. When doing damage or pairing correctly, you will feed into his Nanotech meter, similar to Thor's, the icon of having multiple hammers. This one will just have 4 arms. So you're basically just building up these 4 arms beneath his scope or crosshair, whatever you want to call it. Each of these arms can be used with secondary fire, which we're about to get into. This passive does not build up from using the secondary fire, so you can't use the secondary fire to build up these arms. It's just the primary fire and your parry. So you can't just be like, oh, let me spend an arm and then gain an arm. Like, no. I know some people are like, you know. Anyway, secondary fire. So it's gonna be named Flo, Mo, Harry, and Larry. I know you're like, where the fuck did you pull these names out of? These are the names that I think I heard from Spider-Man 2, and these are the names of his 4 arms. So Doctor Octopus's 4 arms each have their own I don't know why I put anime. They each have their own name. I don't know where that came from. And personality. And similar to this, they each have their own ability. So all these abilities would last up to 10 to 12 seconds if not used. But once they are, it lasts as long as the animation or attack does. So we'll get into that in a second. In order to pick up the arm of your choice, it'd be similar to a Black Cat's ability wheel. So basically, like you press R1 and then you like use your joystick to pick like which arm you want, and then you would spend your like the arm icon that you've been building up in the nanotech charge passive. All right, so there are 4 arms, like I said. We're gonna go over them real quick. So you got Flo, Mo, Harry, and Larry. So Flo cost 1 arm. This ability would act as a sharp object, so kind of like a blade or whatever, that can cut or slash any foe in its way, leaving a slight bleeding effect. So you like can like go like shish, shish, or like just like whatever animation you want to make it. If you hit somebody, then you have a bleeding effect. So there is that. All right. Next is Mo. So that's going to cost also 1 arm. This is the ability that would act as a saw. So this like, and these are where I'm saying nanotech comes in. Like it makes sense. You can't just have like arms chilling here like, and then just like magically turn into that. Like, I think it would make sense. Like just if it has nanotech, it's like you press it and it goes, into like a spear. It's like into a saw. It's like, so this one turns into a saw. And the Flow and Mo are the top ones. Mo cost 1 arm. This ability would act as a saw and it would do percent-based damage to anyone or any shield or any ability. When I say ability, I'm not saying, like a Wanda bubble. I'm not saying a Hella stun. I'm talking about something like a Namor squid, something that's on the ground, like a trap, something like that. Or like a shield. When I say shield, like I mean a character shield, not like some other like a bubble, or I'm talking about bubbles, or I'm talking about like actual strange shields, stuff like that. Or obviously to anybody. And I think it would be cool if it does percent-based damage as opposed to just normal damage. Like normal band damage just sounds like so normal, Percent-based damage at least like makes it unique, and you're having to use your brain on how you want to use the saw. All right. Next is Harry. Harry is going to cost 2 arms. This ability gives you the option to grab onto any character that's in your crosshair and throw them far away. So you basically just grab somebody and then you're like, yeet. Um, also, if you miss the grab, there's no compensation. You just wasted 2 arms. So be making sure you know how to use this aim. All right, so the aim is to grab is semi-far for max distance. So you're not like, you're not grabbing really close, but you're not like extending across the maps. It's going to be a pretty decent range. All right, and then last is Larry. So costing 2 arms, this ability acts as a short barrage of blasts that you can shoot at enemies, uh, or at the ground towards them, doing splash damage. So it's basically like the arm, because these Harry and Larry are gonna be the bottom arms. That's what I was saying. Like if you use those, then you use the bot like you kind of move to where the bottom, like the top two, go to the bottom, and then like these two come up. So like I said, Harry does the grab and he throws them, and then Larry would be doing like a three concussive blast. You shoot at enemies, and like they can just like they're like kind of like a repulsor blast, and they would either do just like damage to the character or splash damage. So there is that, which would be super cool. And what I meant earlier, with the whole like animation thing, is that like that's how long it would last. Like once you press it, hold on. Okay, sorry. Let me correct this. So all these abilities would I think okay, I don't know what I was going. Let me correct this. So all the abilities would last as long as the animation or the attack does, because you're paying for the abilities with your arm, so there's no like time limit. I don't know where I was going for that, so sorry about that. Sorry the confusion. All right, so lastly, his ultimate ability, so fusion projectile. So as Doctor Strange is, okay, at Doctor Strange's prime, he is finally able to harness the power of the sun in the palm of his hand. If you know what I'm talking about, this is big, something like that. So for this ability, Doctor Strange would be able to build up the solar blast in front of his tentacles. So basically, like all four tentacles are kind of just, or like maybe two of them, since he needs to stand on two, kind of like building up this shoulder blast. Like it's going to be kind of similar to Magneto's circle meter, or Iron Man's, where like the more you hold it, the bigger it grows. So it's like, so if you just like ult, and then you're like, oh fuck, I'm gonna go right here, it's only gonna be this small. But if you hold it, then it gets bigger in its size, and it'll do more damage. So once you shoot it, there's literally nothing that can stop it in its way. It's literally gonna go like boom. See this giant fucking ball just going straight through the wall, going through anything. Besides the wall, sorry, or like any like hard surface that's like a part of the game. Like if it's a Groot wall, see ya. But if it's like an asset wall, then no, it'll stay. Or like if it's the convoy, it'll stay. Um, as it moves forward in its path, and it's only gonna move in a straight path. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna go this way. Oh, I'm gonna go that. No, it's going a straight path. Whatever way you shoot it, that's when it's gonna go. Speaking of which, like, let's say you're like from like you're up top and you want to like shoot it. It's not gonna like come down. It's just gonna go straight. So there is that. So don't be just like, oh yeah, let me go shoot like Iron Man, and Iron Man fucking drops. You're like, oh, well, you just fucked up your ultimate. So as it's going forward, it'll bring all nearby enemies into its core, killing them. So like kind of like Wanda's ult, kind of brings people closer. So as you shoot it, like let's say Squirrel's right here. Yeah, especially Squirrel. You're shooting it, and then like it's pulling her in, and it just kills her. And it only stops once it falls off the map or hits the surface, like a wall, like I said, and it explodes. Like once it hits the surface, it doesn't just like, eh, you know, it like waits a few seconds and it goes, it explodes, causing huge damage. So there's that, which is really cool. All right, team abilities. So we already talked about the Sinister Six one, and then Like Minds. We kind of mentioned this one earlier, but we kind of changed it. That way, we have Doctor Octopus's thing and not Green Goblin's. So for Doctor Octopus' ability, would be able to lunge, and remember this is the one where he teams up with Iron Man. For his lunge, instead of just lunging, he gets a huge upgrade from Stark Technologies. So taking away that lunge effect, like I said, uh, now he gets the ability to start flying using his repulsor tech, like on his arms, using the same idea as Iron Man's flying movement. So that's basically all it does. I think it'd be like really cool. I think it would make sense, but you let me know. I could just be like smoking crack or whatever. So all right. So groundbreaking technology advancement. This is the second team up. This one's with Ultron, who is the anchor, and will be receiving a speed boost. Doctor Strange would receive one of his famous Octobots. So if these are kind of like a more modern thing, which I think are kind of cool. They're kind of like this like cylindrical ones that kind of make up his arms in the new comics, which are really cool. Which would fly around him and shoot like there would just be one of them. It would like be right next to him, and like as soon as you press the button, and it would stun anybody that comes nearby for about 10 to 15 seconds for as long as it lasts. And this would have about like a medium-sized cooldown. That way you're not just like being like annoying, shooting anybody that comes near you. And it doesn't have a health bar, like it's just chilling there until it's done. All right. So for his base in-game design, it should look something like the end of Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. So what I have here, sleek and muscular, is kind of like most people when they see Doctor Octopus, he's like a fat guy in a trench coat. That's not what I want. I mean, he could have that. I really don't care. But at least in my design, like at the end of the Spider-Man cartoon comic, like he gets like a serum or like a part of Spider-Man's blood where he becomes super muscular, and he has like this like really cool like orange and like green costume that I really like. That I want him to be like his main um in game design, and I don't want him to be fat. Like that's where I'm kind of getting at. And if you, like, really don't know what I'm talking about, like, kinda think of, like, 90s Spider-Man cartoon, that's kinda like what he looks like too, and I think that would work. He just still needs to have his bowl cut though, like, without a doubt, he needs his bowl cut? Alright, so next one should be the Superior Spider-Man oh, sorry. Next one should be his comic suit. So since I just kinda said how I want him to look like, then you need to add a comic suit, and he needs his lab coat, without a doubt, he needs his lab coat. So if, like, his base one doesn't have his lab coat, which I'm not, like, like, hard stuck on he needs to, but if he doesn't have it, then his comic one does need to have it. All right. Next one is the Superior Spider-Man suit. Um, I don't think there's a single person that would disagree with me that he needs a Superior Spider-Man suit. It would look dope. Next is the Spider-Man 2 suit. I love Spider-Man 2. It needs to be in there. Spider-Man PS4 suit. I say this for all the other characters that are in, or most of the other characters besides Electro, that are in the game. I like their comics, or I like their video game suit from this game. His should be in there. It's kind of plain, but you have the Spider-Man suit already, so why not have his in there? All right. Okay. Yeah. Never mind. So end of the Earth suit. So this one is basically he's like a huge like he has a huge fucking like he's in like this huge like iron lung type of thing, and it looks really cool. I like it. You know, kind of just like I don't know how to pronounce it. He's like a remote. He's just like chilling in there. It kind of looks like this, and his head's just like popping out right here, and he has like his tentacles. I think it looks cool. I would like to see it. I think it'd be like a cool skin. And they don't have to make it look exactly like the comics, especially for like the hitbox and all that. But Rivals knows what they're doing. All right, next is Superior Octopus. I really want to see this one. I know you're like, is that just Superior Spider-Man? No, it's actually a different. I think it is Superior Spider-Man, but after like it's like more modern version where he gets rid of the Spider-Man costume, but he's still like Otto Octavius, and he has like this like silver, black, and like neon green suit. That looks like really, really cool, and I really like it. I would love to see it in the game. All right, next is his white suit. I don't know why, but in the '90s comics, he was just chilling with like a white tuxedo, and I think it looks super dope. I would love to see him in there in the comics with that. I think it would be such a dope suit. Next is his '90s cartoon suit, kind of like talking about what I was talking about, like his in-game design. But I want to, like I've said this before, I think a '90s cartoon like collab would be cool, especially like if they do something for X-Men '97, where you get to have like that cool like coloring effect, because they did that with the video game pixelated suits. I would definitely want to see like what they try to do with something like a cartoon, something like that, especially from the '90s. That I think would be really cool. And his Ultimate Spider-Man costume from the old universe, that one looks really cool. I definitely want to see it here. Not much really to go on there. And then lastly, he can have like a green and black recolor. Oh no, sorry. Okay, so sorry. This one is like a more modern, like approach that I have seen that I really like. Kind of like when he works. I want to say when he works with the Hydra. I might be wrong on that, but this is like when he has that like the new Octobots. This is what the design I'm kind of talking about. It's like a green and black, and you can have this as a recolor, honestly. But I do like this suit. It looks nice and sleek. So I do definitely want to see this. All right. And then last, accessories. So if you know, you know, he needs to have Aunt May, you know. He does get married to her, so that's pretty cool. And then Spider-Man, I'd love to see. I think for him, like a really cool one would be like he like rips apart his like arms and his legs with his Octobots and like stuffing comes out and Spider-Man's like his head like gets all sad, something like that. That'd be pretty cool. All right. Next is Norman Osborn, kind of like how Green Goblin had an Auto Octavius one. Doctor Octopus should have a Norman Osborn one, especially since they're old colleagues, and especially like since they're old colleagues, these could be like them, like younger with like their science coats on. So that'd be really cool to see. I'd love to see that. He could have an Octobot. I would like that one. And then this one's kind of like from the movies, but maybe Rivals would like to add it. So this is Rosalie Octavius, which is his wife in the Spider-Man 2 movie. That would be cool. And then this is such a niche thing. I did not know about it until today. Like I swear to God, I had no idea what this was. This is Lady Octopus, who is Carol Trainer and is a protege of Doctor Octopus, and she ends up like taking up his mantle when he dies, and then when he gets revived, she's like ends up becoming later like Lady Octopus, and she's still like a villain. Like I didn't even know this was a thing. And I know you're like, oh, is this like the female Doctor Octopus from Across the Spider-Verse? Like, no, 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 no. Like that's like Doctor Octopus, but like gender swapped for the universe. Like, no, no, no. This is a whole separate character. Like honest to God, this is a whole separate character, which I didn't even know about. So it's I would love to see this niche, like crazy reference in the game. All right. Last character. I know we've been here for a fat minute. Promise is the last character. We are now on number 6 out of 6. I've been enjoying this so far. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. I put a lot of effort into this. 4 weeks of effort, but let's finish this up. All right, so Lizard. Lizard is actually one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. So I know he's not a 5 out of 5 star, but I do really like Lizard. I really want him to be in the game, like no matter what. I don't really don't care what he looks like, but I do want him in the game. I would like him to be a Vanguard. I think it would make sense. Um, but the moment he hops in the game, he's gonna lord it. I swear to God. So he's gonna be 6 out of 5 health, 3 out of 5 stars. All right, his primary fire. So he's gonna right trigger. It's gonna be a reptile blaster. So man's so smart as a lizard, it is hard for him to give up on his goal of curing the whole world from diseases and sickness. And the only way he knows how to do this is by turning them into field lizards. That's kind of like his thing sometimes. Obviously, besides curing himself so he can have another arm or get his arm back, but then he turns into a lizard and then he goes like crazy trying to turn people into lizards. So for his primary fire, he has like this big heavy blaster gun that shoots out balls of like his lizard serum. And since the gun is so big, he walks slowly. So to keep that, he's like a heavy gunner basically. So you can and so this gun works in two ways. You can either shoot out normally, they get like get launched at an angle, so you're kind of like do do, and like the more you aim up, the more you aim down, they don't bounce; they just go straight into the ground. But if you aim up, it will like kind of arch. Or by holding down the fire button, you can turn it into like a bigger ball that takes up more of your ammo, like more of your rounds, and does damage. Like possibly, I'm thinking like 5, because the gun has about 50 rounds before it needs to reload. So instead of just going like boom, 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 you could also go and it goes into up to 10. So I definitely think that would work. And like I said, it does more damage. And then at the end here, like I already stated, due to the gun being a really big one, he walks slower than the average character, especially being a tank too. So I think that definitely helps. All right, so his shield ability, Keratin Shield. It's gonna be his L2. Similar to Lizard's tough skin, it would only make sense that his weapons have protective devices too that save him from oncoming fire. So when using his reptile blast, let me bold that real quick. Gucci. You can use a small shield that covers most of the lizard's front half. So basically, the way this works is like if you've seen like Star Wars Battlefront or games that have like heavy gunners and they have shields, basically like this is the gun per se, like the front of the gun, and he has like a shield here and a shield here, and it'd be like kind of moderately big, but not nothing like crazy big, like not a strange shield. And as he's shooting, like he uses his secondary ability and kind of like holds up like this, and he's blocking on oncoming damage. Is basically what I'm trying to get at. All right. So this would have these health bars will have last about like 200 health before it breaks away. And then also when using this, he sort of walks even slower than he already is because he's kind of like holding it down, All right, next is this movement ability. So Leaping Lizard. Just because the lizard has to walk slower due to his technology does not mean that he hasn't adapted in other ways. Lizard's movement ability has a leaping ability that has three uses. So basically, he just has three jumps, but they're leaping. So you're not just like, like Mario. You're like leaping, and it's not like a lunge like we talked about with Hulk or Doctor Octavius. It's like a leap. So it's not a jump, but it's a leap. It's not a double jump either. You can't like, bum, bum, bum. Can't use all three of these at once. Each have their own short cooldown. They go about medium range. So like, okay, let's say lizard's here, and then this is the game. So instead of like a lunge where you can like kind of like, and you like or like doop, like a normal jump, you are boop, boop, and you can't just go like doop doop. You're going boom, boom. That's basically what I'm trying to get at. So, and also, I think for like a most part, you can leap up to like, the second floor of a building or something like that. So that is something I want to keep in mind. Like it's not just like distance, but also like height. You're going like boom, not doop. You're like boom. So there's that. All right, next, special ability, right bumper. All right, so cold-blooded ravage. So although the lizard is a man of high intelligence, he is not a man with a temper to be. He is not a man. He is not. All right, hold on. He does. Sorry about this. He does have a temper. Hold up. There we go. He does have a temper that's not to be messed with. Okay, there we go. Okay, all sorts of spelling corrections not going right here. Oh, hi, Peralta. All right, cute little Peralta over there. So whenever you are in heated battle and you click on this ability, the lizard will go into a berserk mode, growing slightly like bigger and out of his lab coat, which he needs to have. Just gonna put that out there. And becomes blood hungry. While in this mode, he enters a melee type of thing, kind of like Emma's diamond form, but not really. And he has three main abilities. He has his sharp razor claws that can cut through anything. He has his tail whip that knocks back any foes, doing knockback damage. And he has a fierce bite attack. So for each kill, he gets overshield with no cap. That's not like no cap, like no like overshield cap is what I'm trying to get at. So sorry about that. So this ability would last up to 20 to 25 seconds. He's like and he's like he's like whipping you with his tail and shit. He's like All right. The caveat is though this isn't going to be like a crazy broken ability, even though it kind of sounds like that. An enemy does have the ability to shoot at the lizard's limbs, arms, and tails. That's literally it. You can't be shooting his legs like, oh, why is this not working? Because it's not. It's only his arms and tails. They each about have 75 health. While taking a while for, sorry. And once gone, take a while for them to regrow. And you're like, wait, what? So if you know anything about the lizard or like lizards in general, like especially like their tail, if you like you cut off their tail, or like some lizards will cut off their tail if they're stuck in situations, and their tail regrows. Kind of like the same idea. So his tail and his arms both have 75 health. So if you're like, you're going crazy as a lizard, and somebody shoots off your arm, you're like, you're like, what? Where's my arm? Or like especially the tail because it's like a big tail. You can get rid of it. You can shoot it off, and it has a cooldown that takes a while for them to regrow, and that goes into his passive, which we'll talk about in a second. This can only be done once he's entered this mode, so you can't just be like as he's like just shooting his tail, and he's like, "Fuck you doing?" Hit with his arms, and it is no longer available once he goes back to normal. Like he might not have his arm yet, but it's like a little a little baby arm like Deadpool. It grows back, and then he goes back to like his primary thing. So there is that. Also, during this ability, he still has the ability to leap. So he's like, and he's like, so cool. Passive ability Reptilian Gene. Similar to many other reptiles, Lizard has harnesses the ability to grow back any limbs at a semi-fast speed. Basically, what we just talked about. All right, last ultimate ability. We're almost there, guys. I promise. All right, so Connor's grand plan. Finally, Dr. Kurt Connors is able to finally solve the world's issues by releasing his lizard serum in the fight to save the multiverse. Um, there we go. Against Doctor Doom. Once you have pressed his ability, the lizard will enter into an animation where he places his gun down. So he's like, and then you press ultimate. He like grabs his gun. He starts placing it down. He instead of just like, or like, he enters this animation where he starts like placing it down. It'll like create like legs and everything. So where it like locks into the ground and stuff like that. And as he's doing this, um as he's turning his gun into this like rocket launcher type thing, this small bubble will form around him to cover him. That has about 155 shield. So I mean, like you could be in like the middle, like the gunfire, but you don't want to because like if they go through the 150 shield, then they basically just stop your ult, and you go back to like 0. So don't be doing that. Like you don't go back to 50%, you go back to 0%. So don't be like crazy stupid. Go to the corner and you like, you know, um, like, don't be just like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do whatever I want as Lizard." No, like, you're gonna waste your ult, everybody's gonna be mad at you. So don't do that. Once the animation is finished, a player will then be able to aim from a bird's eye view. So kind of like Bastions, where you're doing your own thing right here, and then you're like, you can like see above here, and you can be able to place 3 medium-sized spots across the map. And once you like aim, once you click, like on one, it'll stay and you'll move to the next one. So you like go up here and you like let's say you aim here, boom, and you move to the next one. And you click this one and you click this one. And once you click that third one, they will all fire the missiles. And once those missiles fire, they will cause complete damage and havoc. So I think this will just be really cool. There's just gonna be missiles explosions. Once they're done, his ultimate's over. The animation will like kind of be like really quick. His gun just comes back into his he picks up his gun again. So that's super cool. All right. And that bubble goes for the whole time the ult's going on, so do keep that in mind. You can't just be like, "Yeah, once I pick who I'm shooting, F it." No, you like, the whole time, you gotta be careful. Alright, next, team up abilities, old colleagues. So whenever teamed up with Spider-Man, who is the anchor and receives a slight damage boost, the Lizard would receive a new ability that allows him to shoot out a small web bullet from his gun that whoever it hits sticks to any surface that is behind them. So basically, like let's say you're a Lizard and you see a Bucky in front of you and he's about to do his stupid ground ability or his grab, and you're like, no, you press the button and it shoots like a web and he like sticks to the wall. And this isn't just, like, for one person, it depends on, like, how many people are there and, like, how big the exact ball like, web is, because like, it's gonna shoot out and it's gonna expand. And it's not gonna be, like, crazy big, but it won't be, like, like, tiny, you know? And so, like, if, like, you grab up to 2 to 3 people, up on the wall, and they would be stuck there. The web has about 100 health. It'll last, like, maybe, like, 5, 7 seconds, or maybe, like, 10, but it also has, like a health so that enemies can, like, break them out of it, so it's really cool. Last team up. This one I was really excited about, especially now that Devil Dinosaur is in the game. So I would definitely love to see it. But basically, whenever he's teamed up with Lizard is teamed up with Jeff or Devil Dinosaur, uh, the Lizard would be acting as the anchor, gaining a slight movement boost, and uh, Jeff would uh, Jeff would gain a new ability that, once selected, feeds him the Lizard Serum, making him enraged. While in the short mode with Jeff, he has a speed boost. Oh, so while he gains the serum, Jeff gets a speed boost, and like obviously he turns into like a little lizard. His tail it becomes enlarged and is able to like whip people with his tail, kind of like Lizard with his like enraged ability. And he's also able to scratch anybody, which is really cool. Right, and then for Devil Dinosaur, he gains a new ability where, when he presses it, he can burp out these lizard serum bubbles. And then if it hits you, like if the bubble hits you, like boop, you kind of get stuck in the bubble and then you fly away. But enemies can't shoot down the bubbles. Like all it takes is one shot, and the bubble pops, and you come back down. So, but like the bubble would keep flying away. So like but it won't last forever. So, like, let's say if you're like near the end of the map and like Devil Dinosaur's like, what's up, broski? He can hit you with the bubble and you can go like flying off in the map, and then the bubble just drops and then you just die. So do be careful. Um, but yeah, bubble lasts about 10 seconds. Like I said, beware. And then possible suits. So for the base lizard in the game, in my opinion, he needs to have like the long face. He does not need the man face. I think that just looks weird. He's a lizard. He's not man lizard. I mean, I guess he is, but just to me, he needs a long face. It makes the most sense. It's my favorite version of the lizard. Depending on what he looks like in the game, he needs the classic comic appearance. You know, whether or not he has that. We've talked about that before. Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. I like his design in there. It looks pretty cool, especially like when he has the armor. Any one you want to take from there, you can add there. The Amazing Spider-Man suit looks pretty cool. Maybe you do one or two with like the short face. I don't know. I don't know how you mess with the character model, but I'd like to see it, especially since he did come out in the movie. Or actually, if you wanted to do it where he's just like kind of naked, that could definitely work here. Uh, PS5 Spider-Man game appearance. This one is like where he's a little bigger and he has spikes all over his back. I really love the lizard from the Spider-Man 2 game. So I definitely want to see him in here, especially since there's already like Spider-Man in there, and let's say we get Doctor Octopus in there or Craven, we have more skins. You should definitely add this one. Ultimate Comics, the Lizard. So this is in the comics. He's kind of like this like fishy looking like lizard, nasty little thing, and he's like gray. So like this could be like a possible recolor. That way you don't have to change exactly what he looks like. I think this is like a good way to show like because like kind of like Hella. Like alternate color is like red based off her like Ultimate Comics design, so you could definitely do that here for the lizard and do this gray Ultimate Comics design. All right, and then next is a lizard Spider-Man suit. So I've seen this before, kind of like in this one Ultimate Comics, sorry, Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon episode where like the lizard like finally is able to turn all the other Spider-Man people into lizards, and so like he's like this like they're all like these like they're really buff lizard people, but they still have like the Spider-Man suit and it's like torn and everything. I think that'd be like a really cool suit for lizard. And last, Savage Land appearance. This is the original concept. Basically, I have no idea what this would look like, but I think he'd be like a really cool character to see in a Savage Land suit, which we've already seen in this season and with Rogue. So I definitely want to see like what that would look like here. That would definitely be really cool. And then I guess I just like said fuck my accessories because I don't have them here, but let me give them to you guys real quick. That way we can get this Johnson finished. All right, accessories. All right, so the first one has to be his kids. His all right. Basically the Connors family. Ah, and you can kind of do something similar to uh, f- like Punisher, where he has like a little charm, like a necklace thing of the kids. I don't know. You could like really do it anyway, but I definitely want to see his family in there because sometimes, um, they're dead, even though he kills them. But sometimes they're not. So I think it'd be really cool to add that. And then next, it needs to be Spider-Man Big Dog. And you could kind of go like the route where he's like an animal, and like kind of like Earth, like a dog, like tears apart like a Spider-Man plushie. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know. Whatever you really wanted to do. Next, I think. Okay, let me emphasize on their name. I think it's Billy and Martha, because Martha is the wife and Billy is the son. There we go. I want to give them their names. I want to be properly respectful to them. And then I think a cool idea is from the comics, the clone lizard family, which is basically just his family that are cloned, and then they turn into lizards, which turns into lizards, which are pretty crazy. Like, okay, the lizard, do you? I guess maybe you could have both of them. Maybe like the booklet has like on one half it has like the normal ones, on the other half is like the clone family. I don't know. It'd be kind of weird. Next would be Doctor Octopus because he was sometimes friends with the lizard, like Kurt Connors and Doctor Octavius. They're both well like respected or were scientists in their field. So I would definitely maybe want to see something like that. That'd be kind of cool. And then lastly is a dinosaur man called Staglin. Stagron, I think. Let's double check. Just want to double check real quick. Stegron or oh Stegron. Okay, sorry. Which is like another dinosaur person that he's been in comics with many times before. So I definitely want to see that. All right. So that is my character concept of the Sinister Six. I really hope you guys like that. I took like forever, but I really hope you guys like that. It took me a long time. But after this, we don't really have any big like character concept projects like that, so it just will be going back to one a week. I really hope you guys like this one. I really put a lot of effort in this. I really enjoyed it. I really hope eventually they do put more villains in the game, especially some of these Sinister Six members, because some of these are my favorite Spider-Man villains ever. Obviously, they don't need to just add like a bunch of Spider-Man villains. I want to see all sorts of villains, and which we'll be doing more of here on the channel is more Spider-Man. Sorry, more villains on top of just like more heroes. So definitely really excited. Thank you to everybody that showed up today, whether it's a weekly update, character concept, all of it. I appreciate everybody that shows up here today. You guys are really fun. I love talking to you guys. Love chatting it up with you guys. Um, I'm gonna ahead and close this out, and then we're gonna do season 8. Cannot wait to play. Been waiting literally all day. So definitely very excited. But thank you guys again. Hope you guys really enjoyed the special surprise, and I'll see you, Peter.